on it or something. Yep, that's cool.
Yeah, try that.
I've got to do some work on the line anyway, so it's going to get re-terminated sometime, maybe tomorrow.
Well, there you go.
So,
if
so
that,
and we'll live
helps
that,
it, that helps it. If it doesn't, it's not going to hurt it.
That's true.
Yeah, it's one thing to eliminate. So
he's actually just pointed me in a direction too. He's given me another idea because I've got the 4 ports that I connected to, and when I did Mum and Dad's house, you have to take the ports off the wall, and I punched all the other cables, and when I punched them, maybe I've tugged one of them bastards loose.
Possibly.
Might re-punch that.
Excuse me.
Thanks, Pekka. It's good. Good to have the extra ideas.
Chat.
Oh, look,
we are here. Oh, I haven't turned my face off.
No, leave it on that one. You look better on
Shut up. Sadiq might die tonight. Just saying.
I'd make a change from Neymaris, that's for sure.
Well, she might die too. We all might die. No,
I'm expecting to die because I wanted to trade DMs, but hey.
Oh, trade DMs. That's right. I was right. Tracy said that in Cam's stream. He prefers Cam as a DM because he's too nice. It's like, right. Alessandros needs to get a death. Thank you for that sub, Mr. Orbasm. 9-month streak.
Sweet. If it's one thing I like is streaking for 9 months.
I bet you do.
Hey, I'm not touching that. Probably what his wife says too. But
you don't know what I'm saying.
Gee, how did you know? Wow.
Oh, did I say streaking? I meant stroking.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, just before we get into tonight's show, obviously welcome to our Sunday homebrew campaign. We're still having some minor glitching with Het's camera. We're not entirely sure what that is. It's a work in progress. So if you see Het freeze, don't panic. He will come back. It's only for a split second. We will deal with it. It's not a great drama. But, Wednesday nights, Curse of Strahd went extremely well. Again, the level of roleplay, I think, has been lifted almost every session in that series so far. And even in the homebrew campaign, the level of roleplay has just gone through the roof. You guys are setting the bar extremely high. So you have to outdo yourselves every week to keep up, I think. Oh, why not? Come on. We don't want to go backwards. But with that, we almost ready for tonight's session. Just got to check a couple.
Hi, Nutty, in the background there. Wave, Nutty, wave.
Yeah, wave in the background. Make sure the tweet has gone out, which it has. So, so no one else got anything else to say? We've got, actually, the only other announcement I've got, Tuesday nights, starting next week, I will be jumping back into the gaming streaming momentarily, well, for one night a week at the start, see where we go. It will be a range of RPGs and occasional FPS, depending on how I feel. So it'll be a bit of Warcraft, there'll be some Baldur's Gate 3, some Solasta, maybe some Warframe, and Call of Duty. On Tuesday night, usual time, 7:30 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time. If you want to come hang out, I've got a whole new scene, everything set up for it, which would be very cool. Actually, I could probably show you guys before we start. See if it'll let me. It should. So, I'm not going to show actually, I'll show the intro. So the game intro is this. Which is similar music. But, for those of you that are WoW players, you should recognise that figure in that scene. And obviously we have... Holy crap, someone exploded. That would have been the sub coming through. So that is just the basic... You can see the Skype on the screen there, but that's the basic outlay of the gaming stuff. We've got our... Big face, yoink, which is all animated, it's not kind of cool. And then we've got Be Right Back, for the Horde. The line sucks, just saying. And across the outro. So that will be the scenes for the gaming stream. Because I love my Warcraft, always have, and always been, well, not always been Horde. I did start with Alliance, I will admit, but strictly Horde for a number of years now. So without any further ado, we should turn the music on and get into the recap from last episode. And as I said, as you guys probably saw just before, in light of Halloween week, we're going to go with a more ghostly DM this evening. So welcome chat, welcome to tonight's episode of the Paradigm campaign. Wait for the music to kick in. So, last week, back in Beyond, you returned to the Guild House to discuss further the plans for gaining the upper hand in the interrogation of the last remaining council members, the Council of Elders, Helman and Erin, who you've since discovered have been hiding in plain sight within the city limits. Helman posing as a blacksmith and Erin posing as an acolyte at the Arcanus Podroom. In fact, an acolyte you've all dealt with most recently in the dealing with Craven's Edge, the dark sword that had afflicted Sadiq. With that, it was decided that some research was to be done to create either a potion or a poison to aid you in their interrogation and give you advantages over them. Sadiq and Alessandros headed for the alchemist and discovered in their research a formula for a potion made with an Inron flower and the venom sac of a spider commonly known as a Volond wandering spider, and a poison which was made up of elweed and other ingredients. I think that was the spider as well, sorry. So there was a number of ingredients that needed to be collected. Sadiq and co mentioned and managed to find a hunter who was quite happy for a price to hunt down and collect these spider specimens for you. You then managed to harvest the Inron flower with the aid of Fiala and her alchemical and herbology skills. Most expertly managed to harvest two, in fact, with the aid of Het, who carried the flowers back to the guild house. The elweed was easily found, as it is just commonly grown across the realms. You then commissioned, with meeting Garrick in the old Volond Guild underground safe house, you commissioned the newly formed, and with the new leader of Garrick, the Order of the Scorpion, to kidnap Erin and Helman simultaneously and to bring them to this location where you could then have a little chat. Fiala / Ildri seems somewhat distracted and a lot more hostile in these past few days, getting closer to being able to come to some form of closure in regards to the slaughter of Alessandros' parents, her offspring, her egg that was destroyed in the attack, and obviously she was able to return the bulk of her treasure hoard back to her lair, with your aid, of course. Ali, Sadiq, and Neymaris, at some point during this time, decided to head out and track down the wife of Tippin Pomerath, the goblin adventurer that you discovered in the Tomb of Horrors that had perished. You found his diary and a wedding ring, and in the diary, the last entry was, please return these items to my wife in the city of Volond. You discovered that she did not reside in the city, but on the outskirts of the city, and when arriving there, you probably discovered why she does not reside in the city. She was less than responsive. In fact, she was quite hostile and believed you to be the murderers of her husband and ordered her farmhand Jessam to attack. A 7-foot-tall half-giant wielding a giant club then runs at you, Namaris, giving the command run, and you all turn to escape the combat situation. Jesham fires his large club at you, not being able to keep up. Narrowly missing Sadiq, who manages to dive out of the way, but Elshonos was not quite so lucky, and it struck her in the back. But you managed to avoid the combat situation and escape back to the city. So, pretty much, you then returned to the guild hall, all once again coalescing, getting ready for the evening, and Sadiq then retired to his chamber, where he proceeded to formulate and manufacture the potions and the poison that you guys needed for your interrogations. He managed to do so with some pretty good success, and has all the stats for those particular potions. And this is pretty much where we'll rejoin you guys right before you retire for the evening. So, is there anything you guys wish to achieve before? Holy crap, got my pen. If there's anything you guys wish to achieve before turning in for the evening, now's the time. Otherwise, we will just have you guys complete a long rest and we'll start the next day.
I, for one, am going to bed.
Night, Ellie.
Yes, good night, Ellie.
I think I might go also.
So
Been a long
everyone
day,
is
chasing
tuning in?
farmers' wives.
Yes, it has. I'm going to bed.
Think of what you want for your birthday. Night.
Huh? No, don't want
Yeah,
anything. No.
actually, do you have a birthday list of things that you would like?
No, I don't.
Okay, so we're going to make a birthday list for things that she would like.
Anything you always wanted when you were a kid and never got.
Hedge pulls out his nice notebook and gets his pen, and he goes, "Okay, give it to me, Ellie."
Hey, what do you think what Shim would want?
Teddy
Oh,
bear.
shim.
Okay, if there was anything I liked, I stole it, okay?
Okay, so
So what have you
Ellie.
stolen in the past?
What
wants
was
a
your
cake.
favorite stolen thing? Teddy bear. Put teddy bear down.
Teddy bear, probably, yeah.
Good
Ellie,
night, Eli. I'm going to bed.
Yes, you go to bed a lot. That would be a teddy bear thing, right?
Alarm
Oh.
clock. Put down an alarm clock.
Alarm clock?
What does this alarm clock you speak of?
I think gnomes build them. I'm not sure. It's like a compass, but it rings kind of thing.
A compass that rings.
Sort of.
I'm going to write that down for another purpose.
More like a sundial. Okay.
Yeah.
Ellie, come back.
And with
Maybe
that, Alessandros
Nikolai.
just turns and leaves you guys to it and just goes to her room.
Some dark clothing, because thieving and all that.
Okay, I'll write that down, Sadiq. I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe a master trap disarming kit.
Ooh, or maybe an apprentice one because she can't find traps in the first place.
Okay,
Neymaris and I were thinking of like 101 trap disarming for dummies or something like that. But the
A
bookstore.
couple of books on how to spot a trap, how to pick a lock.
Lock picking that even an orc could do. Put that
A
down.
scroll of trap finding.
No, that's a one-off. We need something that she can learn from and continue doing.
She likes her rings. And I'm not even speaking next to it. She likes her rings.
something is strange about you, Namaris.
You're not called Neymaris.
She likes her rings, eh?
a ring of trap finding? Is that
I will look into
Is
it.
that a thing?
is that a thing? Because if that's a thing, it's like
I think I've
shit,
got
I'll
an
have
echo.
one.
We might be able to talk to the local mystical, magical people and get them to make one that does like trap disarming, X amount of times a day.
Ooh, but aren't we like currently about to imprison like the head person of that type of thing?
I'm sure there's other people around, right?
I don't know.
Maybe like a scroll spell for like, I don't know, like a key kind of thing, like a opening doors or something.
I tell you what,
Skeleton
tomorrow...
key.
Oh, something like that.
Ooh,
Yeah,
skeleton
I've
key.
heard about them. They're really good. They're really rare though.
I've been catching up with some of the locals to make things for me recently, and I could do some research tomorrow morning when I go to pick up one of my items if you like.
I
yeah,
also
that
think
helps.
a first aid kit for when she falls in these traps that I don't know about because I wasn't there.
And the ooze
Wait
on
a
her
minute.
face and the acid, that was a bad day. Yeah.
We would've- yeah.
No, an
The skin
automatic
treatment.
first aid kit. Something that automatically deploys and brings her back to life. There we go.
Like a Bed Bath and Paradigm we could go to and get her like some nice body lotion to help with the cream, you know?
Something for that hair as well, because man, that hair is just all over the place. I think we need to buy her a token for the bathhouse.
This is a long list.
Yes, I mean it's just a birthday. It's not like 20 children at Christmas, guys. I think we're getting out of control here. Maybe we need to.
Look, we got this list, and then we can sit there and we can all get her one thing off the list, and that's it.
Yildri Namaris, has she ever been laid?
I'm gonna guess from her demeanor, absolutely not.
I'm looking at Het now going, how the hell would I know?
You girls talk, I'm assuming.
Do
You
we?
gotta remember that most of the time that we did the talking, either I was drunk and trying to kill her, or...
Do we need to fix that up? She is gonna become a woman. I mean,
I told you, a night in the brothel?
that would relax her completely. She'd be trapped disarming the next day like nobody's business. You'd just be. That would be nice.
Or she'll disappear and go do something else like someone else, and Het looks at Sadiq.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
you owe me money.
I
Anyway.
don't know what you two are talking about.
Het is getting rather tired. Het might sleep on this. That's a good starting list, though.
So,
Right.
bed for all then?
Yes.
So you all retire to your bed chambers for the evening. Nothing happens during the evening. It's the city's warded. The patrols have been doubled, and the guards have the new militia is forming, and there's a new barracks being built outside of the city to house the influx of the military in Vallon. Vallon is probably now the safest city in the realm at this point. So morning comes. You all rise and go through your regular morning routines, re-doffing your armor, and you come back down to the main guild hall. You breakfast, coffee, all that sort of stuff. During this time, however, Lyle Leonette is the new guild headmaster, approaches your table and says, "Good morning, Lions. A good day today. But I have a task for you. If you are not busy, that is, of course. The city guard has asked me if you would please assist them in searching for a scouting party who happened to have gone missing in the last couple of days. There's been several raiding parties attempting to find the weak points in the walls of the city, and Breton Hart had had hired these individuals to scout the city walls, the city exterior, and tried to find out what was happening, of course, but they have not reported back in. If you would please assist Breton in investigating what may have happened to these 4 or 5, I believe, individuals. If you take the northern gate, follow the road north, maybe half an hour maybe, and see if you can determine what may have happened to them. Yes? Okay. When you're ready, after your breakfast, of course. So, I bid you good day.
You're on. Thank you, Lionel.
It is Lion.
Lion?
No, it's Lionel. I joke. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
My French accent was terrible today. Sorry.
Damn, I thought his name was Leon.
It is.
Sorry,
It's
I-
Leon.
yeah.
Leon.
I
Lyle,
Lions.
actually. It's Lyle Leonette.
thought it was Andrew. Sorry, bud.
There's
And
Leonette.
Frederick.
Lyle Leonette is the name.
I had it right.
That's
the
all
first
right
time.
then, Bob.
Bastards. No. And he returns to his office, leaving you to your breakfast. Another day obviously had passed. We're going to mark that off. And the day is yours. You now have a task which you've agreed to investigate the whereabouts of a small scouting party that has been missing for a couple of days in the north of the northern exterior of the city. Supposedly sent to scout the potential raiding parties that have been attacking the walls of the city over the past few days.
Nemaris,
Yes.
did you forget?
Just wait just a second. He will be back.
I'm not sure if I forgot because I'm not quite sure what it was I was supposed to remember.
It's taking a little longer than usual.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm starting to really think it is wiring.
Oh, there he is.
He's back.
Hello. What I was
Yeah.
going to say was, this could be good for you. Brush up on your skills. A raiding party and all sounds like a good place to hone your attacking ability.
I don't think I ever lost that, but I think you're definitely right. A little bit of practice always goes a long, long way.
Excellent. Get a bit of breakfast in you, and this sounds like it could be fun.
Mushroom omelette for me.
Oh, here we go again.
So, breakfast is downed, coffee is drunk, and you prepare yourselves for your journey to the northern gate, which will take you about an hour and a half to cross the city. But you do so, you cross the city. You then come to the northern gates of the city. The city guards give you a nod and a wave, again, recognizing all of you, and including Nemaris. You've always had respect of most of the city guard. So you get a bit of a salute and a nod as you depart the city, heading out of the city towards the northern trade road. This northern road is generally well travelled, and there's a few people milling around today, nothing too serious. You travel for maybe 35-40 minutes on foot, keeping an eye out. You've been told to sort of look out for signs of maybe a struggle or about this time from the road. Don't see anything on the road, however. Another 30 minutes or so goes past, but Het, you are probably the first to notice it. There is, just off the road, just into the tree line, there you hear a moan of sorts, not unlike maybe that of an injured person or an injured animal. Maybe it's not 100% clear on what it is, but you definitely pick up on it. Fiala, you probably hear it as well. The rest of you probably didn't hear it with your passives, but Alishon, you may have picked up on it as well.
Do you hear that? Sounds like a moaning. Could be a ghost.
I heard it too. Maybe it's one of the scouts we're supposed to find.
It pulls out his little grey skull, and he starts focusing around the area, trying to hone in on the sound.
I'm gonna head over to
Roll-
where the
roll-
moaning's coming from.
Roll a perception check, guys. Yeah, roll a perception and see if you can determine where it's coming from. It's you can't really pinpoint its location, but everyone roll perception, please.
Does 22 count?
No, I'm working.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
17 for hit.
17, 22. Ildri,
17.
17. Nemaris. Sadiq.
7.
Sadiq's having a problem finding his roll too.
No, the dice for some reason it logged me out of D&D Beyond. So,
Roll
17.
physical dice. Roll physical dice, people.
Yeah, I just did.
17. 17. So, everyone except for Nemaris will determine the location. Nemaris, you can hear it, but you can't really pinpoint its location. But the rest of you sort of hone in on where you think it's coming from, and you all start moving in that direction. And after about 5 or so minutes, you hit, and Fiala and Alishon, sorry, you are the first to spot a pair of feet poking out from behind a small bush. They are not moving. They look human. You also see a large amount of blood around the area as well. As you move closer, you then spy the first of several corpses. They are in very bad condition. One of them has the stomach completely opened, entrails spilled out, laying over his hip and legs and down one side. They all look male. Another looks like it's had its throat torn out. And as you get closer still, you then hear, "Who's there? Don't kill me, please."
I'd like to run over to the sound of the voice.
And as you move towards the feet you see sticking out of the bush, and just on the other side of the small bush, you see a man lying propped up against the base of a tree, partially hidden by this bush. He's got a large wound, very deep, runs from his shoulder right across his chest, down his stomach, and down to his hip. And he's holding both his hands across his belly. And there's this blood seeping through his wounds. Like, you can see that this wound in his stomach is massive. There is little chance he will survive.
So I'm guessing cure wounds is probably way past that point. I'm assuming. So motion the others to come over too.
Upon closer inspection, as you move through the bodies, on closer inspection, what you initially thought were all men turns out that one or two of these are actually women, and they are in not good condition at all. All dead, apart from this one man.
Looking at bodies, can we see what actually attacked them?
It looks kind of animalistic. There's a lot of claw and teeth marks. It's if you want to try and determine more closely, roll investigation, or actually not investigation, medicine check.
Yes, Head starts examining.
Yes, this man or this male figure that you are now kneeling with is, now that you're actually right there, is a halfling male. He's not human. He is not in a good way at all. So medicine checks for those that are investigating the bodies.
22.
He got 17.
22 and 17.
25.
Alice, Fiala, sorry, you'd be inspecting the one that you're with specifically. 25 from here. Alice, are you participating in the medicine check? Nope. If you wanted to roll investigation to to determine what's happened in this particular area, you could, if you so wished. But the
24.
three of you that are investigating the deceased, it looks very animal-like. But there are several wounds that are from Sadiq, you'd know specifically, and Namaris, that they are weapons as well. There is slash marks that would be akin to animal or more bestial type wounds, but there are physical blade wounds and probably piercing wounds from possibly arrows. In fact, one of the bodies has a couple of arrows sticking out of it, which you've been able to determine. Fiala, the halfling that you are attending to, as you inspect his wound, you sort of talk to him, lift his hand slightly, his top hand, and you can see that his entire, what he's holding in is his intestines. He has been opened up from basically waist to neck, and is very, very, very little chance he's going to survive this. And Alistrandus, you look around, you see several footprints in the blood and in the dirt and the grass that are humanoid, but not big. Smaller than human. You're not able to determine what race they are from, but they're definitely a small race. So with that, the man looks up to you with the half closed eyes, Fiala, and says, "I'm not long for this world, but my friend went that way," and he sort of nods with his head in a sort of westerly direction. He drew them off to try and save us, but we were ambushed. Help him if you can.
It says, "Dear lady, help this man," and he fires a cure wounds at fourth just to see if it does anything. Doing
what? How much heals? Cure wounds?
Yep, I'm just going to do it at fourth, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that's 16 points of heal.
You notice several of the smaller wounds around his neck and face do start to close. But again, on further closer inspection, that large wound that is opened across his chest and stomach it's even you can tell just by looking at it that it's no amount of healing is going to close that wound. It is just he's generally too far gone, and you can see in his face he's been there for a while. He is on the death's door.
I pull out my sewing kit.
This is bad.
I look at Het and I go, Het, don't you have that rod of healing?
It's possible, but I mean, I know I have it, but I was hoping to save that for us. We don't know this person from by ourselves.
The man says, "Don't waste your magic.
I think he's
I am not long for this world, but my friend, he still lives, I think." And again, he motions towards the west. "Save him. At least one of us will survive." And with that, his eyes roll back in his head and he passes out.
Damn it! If he's got a friend on his own, I wish we know what did this. These claws, these weapons. Any ideas, Sadiq?
Roll history, Sadiq.
Oh, okay. History. History
or intelligence, whichever you prefer.
23.
23. looking again, you've had a good medicine check. You know the wounds made by blade and by claw and possibly by teeth, and you rack your brain for a moment to try and determine what kind of creature that you may have encountered in your life that could have caused these types of wounds. And the only thing that comes to your mind and almost instantly is goblin.
Ah, Haddock. Yes, my good friend Haddock.
Who is this Haddock you speak of?
You know this someone called Haddock? He's the murderer?
No, a
Oh.
long time ago. I haven't seen him in years. Yes, it appears that it would be a goblin of some kind.
Everyone roll perception check for me, please.
Goblinoid, koboldoid, is that what you're saying? Could be something like this.
Annoyed. It's annoyed. Yes.
21 for me.
Trash.
9.
Put it in chat. So 9, 20. What was Fusadig?
What was it again?
Perception.
Perception check. Yeah, 10.
2 for Neymaris. 10, 20 something for Fiala. 22 for Alessandros. Say it in chat, Trash. I'll ask for it. Not in the text. It makes it a bit easier. So the two, probably the only two that actually initially hear this would be Fiala and Alessandros. You hear the sound of metal on metal in the distance, and then you hear then all of you hear, as the voices become raised, the chattering of voices, some hostile, one seems to be muffled and more human-like, definitely to the west of your current position. Can't make out what they're saying, but there's definitely voices raised and more hostile.
Let's go west, everybody. Go west.
Go west.
All right, west it is.
Yep.
I feel time is of the essence.
Yeah, we should run.
Yeah,
Do.
run.
Let's start running.
So you all head west towards the sound of this, which does sound a little bit like combat. You then come to a small clearing. It only takes you a few minutes if you're running. And as you breach the trees into the small clearing, you see a humanoid figure covered almost head to toe in blood. It's hard to tell kind of what he looks like from this distance, but there's a lot of blood. You're not sure whether it's his own or whether it's the blood of the creatures that are now surrounding him. Maybe a dozen or so of these small greenish looking creatures, and as you get closer, they are indeed goblins. They are assorted sizes of them, and all really small, but some of them have swords, short swords, some of them have spears, others shields and axes, but they are surrounding this individual, and they're closing in. Every now and again one will attempt to attack, and you see him fend off with his shield, and looks like he's holding a shield and an axe at this point. It's really hard to tell what's sort of going on, but it's definitely not a good situation.
And I would run into the clearing, unsheath my sword, and swing at the nearest one.
Just one moment, we will get to that. Which bow, Trash? Because you only have one in your inventory, which is the Apollo's bow, which you are not attuned to, which you cannot use.
Nope. Hang on, I can use it, I just can't use it.
No, you can't. It doesn't have a bowstring. It needs to be attuned to use the bowstring. It's magical.
10, that means we fucked up last episode.
I know. That makes me fuck up last episode as well. So, yeah, until you attune to it, you cannot use the Apollo's bow. Yeah, that was my mistake. So I'm just going to let you know right now that you cannot use it until you're attuned to it. So you will have to choose to unattune something else if you wish to use it. So, with that, we will roll initiative. You guys will get the advantage on your first attacks for the surprise. And we will roll that. We will start.
In that case, I'm just running in.
Hang on a second. Got to go back here. So, Namaris' initiative, please.
14.
14. Alessandros.
22.
Kit.
Also 14.
Who's got the higher dex?
My dex bonus is 0.
Okay, so that's probably Namaris. So, Fiela.
13.
13. Sadiq.
Dirty 20.
30, 20. So with that, Alessandros, you are at the top of the initiative order. You'll get an initiative on your first attack. As all of you move forward and see this scene, this individual surrounded by goblins, you are able to close the gap to them, to go to melee if you wish. You're about 25 feet from them as you break the trees.
I'll move up to the one whoever I can get to the quickest.
No problem, and you make your attack.
Using the rapiers.
You will also get sneak attack for the surprise, so your attack will be at advantage anyway, but you'll get sneak attack on top.
18 to hit.
That does hit.
That's 9 base damage.
Don't need to roll anything else for that particular. Even just the base damage is enough to destroy this, just to run this goblin through. He wasn't at full health. It looked like he'd taken some damage, but the first of many is as you run him through, you run up behind and just stab him through the back with your first attack, and he is dead. He dies almost instantly on the spot. You're within melee range of another 2 at this point. They're in a fairly tight ring around this guy.
All right. I'll attack the next one.
Go for it. Roll attack.
17 to hit.
That hits.
7 base.
That is enough to kill this one as well. So with both of your attacks, you come in swinging, slashing with your rapiers, running the first one through, and then slashing the second across his chest and neck, downing the first of these foes.
Can I use Action Surge?
Can if you wish. You're only close enough to maybe get one more at this point.
Yeah, that's fine.
But you can make 2 attacks at this one goblin if you wish.
27 to hit.
I think that hits.
And 12 damage.
You also run through the third goblin with your attack. 3 goblins now lay dead at your feet, and as you quickly survey the area, you're now closer to this man. He is human, definitely covered in a lot of blood. He has several deep wounds, but he seems to be holding his own against these goblins at this point. Next in the initiative order is Sadiq.
How far is the closest one?
About 25 feet. You're all sort of breached at about the same time, so about 25 feet.
Alright, so I move up and attack.
So we'll roll your attack.
18 to hit.
That hits.
6 damage, unless it's evil.
Well, goblins are pretty much all neutral evil, so it is evil.
Okay.
So that would count.
So 6 plus 8 damage.
That is enough. You lop the head off this goblin as you surge forward with your great axe. Great sword, sorry.
Sword.
So the other person has the swax.
Yes.
And you remove the head of this goblin almost with no effort at all.
Alright, another one close by.
There is.
Attacking him. 22 to hit.
That hits.
And 13 points of damage to him.
And you cleft him in twain.
And hopefully there's one left, because that's would be my bonus action.
There are several left, in fact. There's quite a few.
Okay, cool.
You can definitely, you've got enough movement to move to close enough to the final one to kill a third if you wish, or attack a third.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I got the greater weapon.
Yep.
Feat, so. Ooh, that guy's gonna be in a lot of pain. It's a natural 20, so 26 to hit.
Whew, natural 20. 26 to hit, and it does definitely hit. And
so
knowing the
that would
base
be a
damage
whole
of your weapon, you definitely
27 points of
you
damage.
raise your
That's just
weapon.
rolled.
Yeah, you you raise your weapon high above your head and just bring it downwards, splitting him in two.
I wish I had that. What was it? There was one feat that you could get in 3 that you could just keep on going.
Yeah, well, you got a natural 20, so that gives you another attack, though, doesn't it?
Well, I've already gotten another attack because I reduced an.
That's right. So that's once per turn, I think.
Yeah, it's once per turn. It sucks my bonus action.
Yeah. Okay. So that's cool. That is your turn. So next up is the goblins. They then turn, and one of them turns back towards you guys, and Sadiq and Alshon, you're closest. You hear him say, "No, this is our meat. Leave meat alone." And runs in to try and attack. First one at Sadiq. Runs into you and rolls a 23 to hit.
That's a hit.
So you will take 5 points of slashing damage. The second rolls in to Alexandros. 19 to hit. That is also 5 points of slashing damage. A bow shot comes to 2 bow shots. One at Fiola, one at Neymaris, and 3 bow shots, in fact. One at each of the 3 of the remaining there. 2 miss. All 3 miss. All lower than 10, so I'm assuming they all miss you all. Next up will be... That was 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's all in. Pet, you're up. And Neymaris, you're up after that. Sorry. Other way around. 5 decks. This is what the thing listed you as.
Sweet.
That's alright.
You get advantage on your first attack.
I am going to... How far away is the closest one from me? I'm going to rage.
Rage, bonus action rage, so you'll be able to charge in, again, 25 to 30 feet, so your full movement will get you into probably a group of 3 or 4.
Sweet.
Now
so
that they've sort of rallied themselves.
I'm going to hit with a 27.
I think that hits. just a
like
tad.
And that would be 14 damage with my first whack.
If you strike out with your first attack, can you mute yourself when you're not speaking, please? You strike out with your first attack and it just decimates again another goblin, sending it flying in a couple of pieces as you swing your swacks. Do you have a second attack at this level?
2-handed attack?
Do you have
weapon
2
attack?
attacks and an action? It will say on your actions. Should know this by now.
No, it just says two weapon fighting.
Under your actions.
On your turn, when you score a critical hit with a melee weapon or reduce a creature to 0 hit points, you can make 1 melee weapon attack as a bonus
It
action.
wasn't a critical attack. I'm asking whether you have 1 or 2 attacks in your attack action.
1.
Thank you. So that is your turn. You definitely decimate this dude. Quite spectacularly, as everyone else seems to be doing. No, it seems to be too difficult to kill. There's just a lot of them. Hit, you're up.
Hit, looking at this person covered in absolute goo, is straight up just holds a grey skull forward. Help me cure this man. And he casts Cure Wounds, getting a 11 Cure Wounds at second. Sorry, Healing Word. It's the bonus action version.
No, alright, Healing Word, done.
And as his action, he will use the spell I have in front of me. He will use Hit Ice Spear at one of the goblins, which is just a cantrip. That is natural 20 to hit.
Natural 20 to hit that. I think that hits. And knowing the damage of that naturally,
That's 30 damage.
you turn this goblin into an icicle. Is now just a statue of ice standing in this clearing. Small axe raised high and ready to attack, but it is no longer moving.
And that is all for hit, thank you.
That is all for hit. Fiello, it is now your turn.
I was running in, and I will lay down my healing spirit stag on the human as well.
No problem.
For 3 points for him, and then as my bonus action, as I'm running, I'm gonna wild shape into Fiello Bear and get up to the closest goblin for my next turn. That's it for me.
That's all you can do. You can't attack.
Well, that's my bonus action, and
you have an action.
I could take it.
Well, actually, your bonus. It's a bonus action to wild shape, and what is it? Is it an action for your healing stag?
The healing stag was a bonus action as well.
So you can't do both.
Yeah. So
you got to choose which one you're going to
do.
Or I'd say you could use your action to wild shape, because you got So that'll take up your action and your bonus action. So you move into melee range and wait for your attack. A few of these goblins sort of look at the bear and think, you see their eyes go wide for a second. Not sure exactly what that means, but now it is back to the top of the initiative order with Alistrondus. You can now move into the next group of goblins if you wish. Which are definitely close enough for you to move into.
Yep, moving in and attacking.
Attack away.
17 to hit.
That hits.
7 damage.
That's enough to kill yet another goblin. Bites the dust.
Second attack.
Next goblin in line. That hits.
5 damage.
That is also enough to kill this goblin, as it was not at full health. You're doing well.
Do I get bonus? No bonus action.
No, that was because the way you were fighting is action main hand, bonus action offhand. So with that, that'll be your turn, Sadiq. You're up. He's now looking around. These 5 goblins left standing, and they're all sort of looking at each other. Sort of get the impression they're kind of deciding what they're going to do. They've all sort of rallied together, close to where you and Alistrondus are at this point.
Oh, good. So they've come nice and close for me to kill them all.
Seems so.
Excellent. So 16 to hit on the first one.
16 does hit.
Go away. That's 18 points of damage to that guy.
That guy's dead. Your second attack.
Hit.
That hits.
And another 18 points to that guy.
That guy also dies, leaving you with an extra attack because you reduced another creature to 0 hit points.
Last dude, it was a 24 to hit.
That hits also.
And he copped. Ooh, he might survive. 5 points.
He will not survive. He was also injured. Most of these guys have been injured in this battle, so they're not at full health. Okay. He also dies. The last 2, you sort of see them look at each other, and then they just turn and bolt. So Sadiq and Alistrondus will both get an attack of opportunity on one of these. Each of you on one of these goblins as they turn and just head for the trees.
12 to hit.
That one misses. So your goblin escapes and disappears into the tree line. Sadiq.
Dirty 20.
You do hit and your damage.
15, 16, 17, 18 points of damage.
As the thing turns, you just virtually, again, take off an arm and take off most of its right side of its body as you slash down with your weapon. And at the moment, and that will bring us out of the initiative order in this particular fight. With that, you then sort of look around and you see this human male then drops to one knee, exhausted, breathing heavy, covered in blood from head to toe. He's carrying a shield and a axe. He is just absolutely exhausted at this point. The heals have helped, but he's just, you can see he's been in a battle for quite some time, obviously.
That was exhilarating.
Sure was. Excuse me, sir. Are you all right?
He sort of looks up at you at this point and nods. Doesn't speak at this moment, but he's then sits back down on sits on his ass and sort of again heavy breathing. Stops, grabs his pack.
If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna run back to the other fellow and see if I can maybe patch him and hit his off. Oh, he died.
He passed out. He didn't die.
Oh, in that case, it was definitely going back to check him.
Yeah, and at this point, the man sitting on the ground reaches into his pack and takes out 2 water skins. Takes a drink from one water skin, and then takes a drink from the other water skin, and puts them back in his pack. And Het retires back to have a look at the halfling to see if he can help further. And at this point, the human man sitting on the ground then speaks to the group.
I'm going to assume by that you are not with those little green men.
Well, I'm grey, so yes, and I'm a lot bigger than them, so double yes, I guess.
That is excellent. I do appreciate the help you have just given me.
Okay, no worries. We'll sent after, told that somebody was looking around and may have got themselves in trouble, and we're used to getting people out of trouble. By the way, my name's Stig, and yours is...
Nice to meet you, Sadiq. I am Karnos Lurth, currently of the trainees of Minsk and Boo. Oh, you'll have to excuse me, I'm on a little pain here. Hey. And the rest of you are...
Fiala makes a little chuckle sound and licks him up the side of the face.
That's right, she's a bear at the moment,
yeah. The bear is Fiala. She's a druid. She does that.
Okay, yeah.
I'd point over at Namaris. The big one over there, that's Namaris. The little one over there is
hello in his head.
Hello, Namaris. Hello, Ellie.
And the Dragonborn that just ran off, that was Het. Yeah.
Het? Suddenly his face lights up and he's like, hang on a minute, I heard of you guys. When I first arrived here a few days back, there was a big speech going on, and some group was introduced to the town in a dragon, and you're the Valond, the Lions, right?
Yeah, we go by that every now and again too.
Tell me, have you seen my compatriots Monteron, Viconia, Zar, and Quail? Sorry?
Oh, I was just going to say, sorry to say this, but I think they might be dead.
Oh no, they're wonderful trainees of Minsk and Boo. Monteron's one of the best rogue fighters I've ever met. Viconia is an enchantress of such great ability. She should have been doing the healing, but we were getting wailed upon. And Zar's a great necromancer.
And then Karnos all of a sudden just stops talking as his wounds sort of take the better of him there for a moment, but he seems to compose himself and is back.
He doesn't often fail, and Quail, our cleric, was doing a fine job of healing. But, excuse me a second while I catch my breath. We were overrun by those little green fellas. Any idea what they were?
Goblins.
Goblins, you say?
Yeah.
We tried to make friends with them. They did not want a bar of it. We tried to give them gifts and food, and next thing they were chomping on Quail's leg, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think offering food to them was your mistake.
Yes. Tell me, mistake, you'd say? I thought giving them food with gnashy teeth like that, that would be maybe helpful to them.
Did you happen to think that giving them a little bit of food wasn't a good? Look, you don't feed them after midday. Okay, you just don't feed them after midday.
I'll make a note of that. Thank you very much.
And never, ever, ever get them wet.
Okay, never get them wet. I wish I had a pencil. At this point, I'd like to say I do not know your lands. I don't come from here. You see, we ended up. Our whole group ended up here by mistake. Actually, we were sent from Faerun to Dragonlance, is where we thought we were, across different realms to collect some ingredients for Master Gorion. It seems that we arrived in, well, wherever this is, Paradigm, I think we were told at the guild house, the Black Lion Guild.
That would be correct. You're in Paradigm.
Right, so we've been here a few days, I guess, after hearing the announcement of you guys, and yeah, we thought we'd take up a bit of a job while we waited for Gorion to hopefully teleport us back out of here. Anyway, this is the greatest day of my life, because you are the heroes, the Lions of the Lawn. Sadiq, right?
Oops, Sadiq just fell off.
I think Sadiq's just kind of gone off into the bushes for a quick pee.
I'll get
But
back
yes,
to him.
yes, we are.
Yildri, assuming the bear is this Fiala, this Yildri, right?
I'm gonna shapeshift out. Yes.
Rawr.
I can only one day hope to have a friend as magnificent as what I hear you are to these people. Alessandrus, I am told, is the greatest undercover disguise agent that ever lives. Totally flawless. I am absolutely in awe, and he sort of bows down a little bit. Namaris, wow, just the presence of you is amazing. To go through what I've heard you have gone through and still carry yourself with such a powerful presence.
I look at him and I'm like, thank you very much. Now, do you think you might need to breathe?
You would make a great bard, by the way.
Oh,
Sounds
very
lovely.
nice.
And you're back, dude.
Do we need to take you to find your... Oh. I look at Fiala and I'm like...
Do you need any more healing? Are you good?
He looks at you quizzically and doesn't say anything at this point. But now he does.
Did Sadiq come back?
Not yet.
Okay.
He'll be there.
He's
getting there.
He'll say his piece anyway. Master Sadiq, I can only hope to fight as well as you, as in this display I just saw as well. If I could be like that in years to come, I would be utterly amazed. But it's so sad that Het ran away. I'd heard the most about him. He is my favourite of all the stories I have been told in the last 2 days over many a drink. I mean, not only can he play and he can sing, but he has charm and personality and power beyond any. And I was really hoping to be able to shake his hand. Hopefully he comes back soon. I can only be... Really, all of you, I can only, sorry, pain, I can only aspire to be as confidently heroic as all of you. And he sort of drops to his knee trying to bow to them, but he's in pain. He's spitting blood.
And yes, so with that, kind of trying to wait for Sadiq to come back here before we do sort of carry on a little bit. But we're going to switch back over to Het just for a moment and come back to you guys.
During that time, I'm going to give this new character here, Carlos, is it? Where is it? A potion of healing. Just
Okay.
one.
So it's going to jump over to Hit for a moment. Hit, you move back to the trees, move back to where the halfling was leaning up against the tree, who appears to be semi-conscious. Sort of, his eyes are partially closed, breathing is very laboured and heavy, and you can tell even just by looking at him that he's definitely not long for this world. He's not going to survive much longer. He's sort of lying there.
I am sorry, my friend. There doesn't seem to be much I can do for you.
It's all right. Did you find my friend?
Yes, I grew up with him. Now, he was a little worse for wear as well, but maybe more repairable than you.
So he lives.
He does live. I think, unfortunately, I don't feel that you will pull through this. I can only take the pain away with maybe one of my gifts to help you through, but I cannot do any more.
It's fine. I knew what I was getting into. But it's an adventurous life for me.
It is, and Hit then starts, he pulls his book of the lady out, he puts the skull on the ground, and he starts reading like a last rites, very clerical, by the steel lady. She draw.
And he freezes again. Oh no. In quiet contemplation, Hit starts reading from his book.
You got it. He just reads scripture.
And with that, after a few moments, you hear the final breath of this poor halfling man, and he eventually dies. All you hear is... and it stops. Eyes still half open, and his hands then fall slack, and indeed his entrails then slowly, as his body relaxes, as death takes him, his entrails sort of spill out over his hands and down onto his lap.
Hit places 2 silver coins on his eyes and closes them, and says a small prayer to the steel lady before heading back to the group.
Noted. So back at the group, just before Hit comes back, Karnos has said his piece about everyone. I think, Sadiq, you missed what was said about you, but if Karnos would like to repeat that for Sadiq's sake.
I'll watch the VOD.
Okay, cool. That's fine. But Karnos is still sitting on the ground. He's clutching, and she's probably got a couple of broken ribs, and is definitely worse for wear. Hit then returns from the forest, and as Hit rejoins the group, Karnos stands and walks straight up to Hit, grabs his forearm, and thanks him very much. Right as he grasps his forearm in the hero's handshake, a large swirling purple and blue portal opens behind him and just sucks him backwards into it, as if a hand had reached in and grabbed him and pulled him back through the ether, and in an instant he's gone. You've all seen this thing before. You know it is a mage's portal of some description, and with the explanation of how Karnos got to Paradigm and what he'd just told you, you're pretty certain that this mage, or whoever he was employed by, had found a way to retrieve him and bring him home. Unfortunately, his group would not fare the same.
Whoa, that was trippy. I was shaking his hand and then whoosh, he is gone. I'm glad I didn't get sucked into that.
That was the kindest man I've ever met. He was so sweet and caring. He had so much to say about you, Ed. Wow.
Oh damn it, I missed it. What did he say?
I didn't think he was ever going to finish, to be honest. He was just lovely.
Fanboy thing, Ed. Nothing you haven't heard before.
We didn't give him an autograph. Oh,
he was chatty, was he?
He was.
Well, I mean, he was doing all right against these goblins. He looked like he had, no chance in hell, but luckily we came along.
In fact, you did come along at the most opportune of moments, it seems. What do you do with the remains of his party at this point?
Should I suggest that we pick them all up and maybe bury them?
How many are there?
There was 4 or 5, I think. 4.
Or would we want to try and find out where they came from and get them back to their families?
Well, you've just found out where they came from. They are not from Paradigm.
Would we be able to get them back to their families?
Probably not. It's multi-realm, multi-dimensional travel, which about the only person that is capable of that is missing at this point.
Then I say we bury them.
Fiela would like to try something.
Sure.
If I could. I would like to transmute the mud, and as they sink, I'd like to transmute it back to rock, so that kind of like they sink in the ground and then it just stiffens up.
So using the mold earth cantrip?
It's a transmute mud to rock and transmute rock to mud again.
Yep, no, definitely.
For flavor.
You could find a more rocky place. I mean, this place is probably more earth than it is, but you could use the mold earth cantrip to form a grave for each of them, and as you fill it in, you could then transmute the mud using water skins to make the mud and transmute it into rock over their bodies.
Yeah.
Is that too many hassles?
Yeah, I'll do that, and that way, since we don't have any shovels or anything,
very cool.
It takes care of itself.
Burying the easy way. I like it.
That was awesome. I didn't even have to get a shovel out.
Do we even have a shovel?
So what's a shovel?
No, we don't. So yeah.
No, we got it for Yayla.
That's true. Are you calling her the shovel? Does that make me the shit?
I think he's calling me a tool. I think that's. Yeah.
I actually think he's just implying that you could turn into a dog or a bear or something and dig a hole real quick. I wink.
No, she just did what I applied.
I was just, and then I just kind of nudge Sadiq in the ribs and say, "Shut up."
Well, I guess, is this the raiding party we have dispatched of? These goblins?
Are these the scouts or?
I think so.
Should
I
we
don't
search
think
for
so. I wouldn't think that scouts would be here to do scouting or going back to another realm. True.
That's a good point. Maybe we should search these goblin bodies and find, let's see if they've got...
Yeah, search the bodies.
Roll investigation.
Goblins are thick as shit, right? They wouldn't do this on their own.
Yeah, search the roll investigation. All who wants to search the goblin bodies for. I'm assuming you're looking for any kind of correspondence.
26.
26.
10, nat 1.
Natural 1 for Alexandris, the most famousest rogue ever.
17 for hit.
17 for hit.
I got a nat 1, but that makes it a 4.
So a nat 1 for Neymaris also. Fiela.
5.
5. So Sadiq and Het, the rest of you, you're searching through the other 3. You find coin totaling across all of them about 35 gold, not a whole lot. But Sadiq and Het looking for something more specific and more substantial. Sadiq, you find a small piece of parchment with common written on it. It's basically all it says is meat lives Valond. Go find out how much meat.
I'm thinking they're after meat.
Maybe the meat is the people?
Yeah, I've got the feeling the meat is the people.
Yes.
I'm just going to add Gross.
And Hit, you find a small notebook, which is odd. You wouldn't assume that a goblin would have a notebook, but in the notebook is it's a couple of entries. The first is found ourselves in a strange land. Not sure where. We'll investigate. The next entry, which looks like it's a day or so later, says found large city, approaching city guard to find out where we are. Then another a space, and then below that appears capital city Beyond in a place called Paradigm. We'll investigate further. Then next entry, approached by captain of the guard to investigate raiding parties around the city. Also in brackets below that, must figure out a way to get home. Again, just below that in bold, Arcanus. And that was the last entry.
It reads it out aloud to the group. Wonder if this was that fellow that just shook my hand that wrote this.
I don't think he sounded like he could write, to be honest.
He didn't sound like the writing type.
No, maybe not. It might have been one of the other compatriots. You're probably right.
Well,
he did say he had
a cleric.
an enchantress and
Yeah,
something.
whatever an enchantress is.
Well, they do come from another realm. I guess things could be different over there.
So they were hired to be the scouts then. So I guess we found them.
That is good then. Mission complete, I guess.
Shame they're all dead, really.
Well, no, they aren't all dead. One of them survived and has gone. He's gone home.
Oh, he's gone somewhere. We don't know if he went home.
That is a good point.
I'm sure he's fine. He'll be fine.
Hopefully he's fine, because you wouldn't want to be accidentally sent to the Nine Hells or anything. So,
He looks like a bloke that could handle himself in the Nine Hells.
Oh, I mean, he was struggling with like 15 goblins. The Nine Hells is a bit more demonizy.
I reckon he'd talk them to death.
Sarcasm, Ed.
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch it. It's hard with your lisp with your tusks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Well, he was very nice to the goblins, so I'm sure wherever he is, he's gonna just probably find some good friends or something.
Look,
So
as long as
he's
he
very
follows,
kind.
as long as he follows the advice I gave him and don't feed him after midday.
You know what was really odd about that guy before I left to see his mate?
What?
When he sat down and he pulled out like a water skin and had a drink, and then like he pulled out another one and had a drink. Why would you drink out of two separate water skins? That seems a little odd to me.
That is weird.
Was it a magic potion, I wonder?
Or
One might have been water and one might have been wine.
Ah, you make a valid point. Or both, one may be wine.
No, it wouldn't
He
make
just
sense.
strikes
drink
me
out
as
of-
somebody who's slightly out of balance, so who knows?
you do a lot of things when you're in shock. You know, you just
That's yeah. Namaris makes a valid point. Balance is key. But he was in shock, I suppose. You're probably right. He did look like something out of a theatre play I saw once called Carrie.
But see, I don't think he was really well balanced because he had an axe and a shield. Now, if he had two shields or two axes, that would be balanced.
So if you have a personal armory on your back, I don't think you should be talking about balance.
That's
Maybe
what I'm
we
talking
should
about.
Maybe we
I
could
understand
weigh the
balance.
shield and an axe and see if they are similar.
Do you think, seeing as you're talking about things being key, that he might have been a monk?
Maybe.
He didn't have a shaved head, did he?
Then he had weapons too. They don't use weapons, do they?
I've
don't
seen,
know.
yeah, I've seen
Sticks or
some use weapons.
True, I have also seen monks with weapons. Their hands are weapons. I mean, they are an entire weapon. They are lethal. Those monks.
Lethal weapons.
Almost.
I mind you in saying that, I think he definitely talked way too much to be
Yeah.
a monk.
I told him he should have been a bard. He was really very chatty.
He would definitely make a good bard.
Do you think I am well, I suppose I mean, I'm a bardic of nature as well as cleric of nature, and I have a little magic on the side, I suppose. Do you think I'm chatty?
I think it's
No,
good.
I think you're a dabbler.
I just smile sweetly at Hit.
I think it's good to be a good conversationalist. It's a good thing.
That is good, because sometimes when I have trouble speaking, you guys need to speak for me.
Would that be like at breakfast every morning?
Yes.
Mm.
Ellie, you are rather quiet today. How far away is your birthday again?
Birthday? What birthday? I don't know what birthday you're talking about. Go away, DM. They don't want to know.
10
Would that be about
days?
10
10
days?
nights? 10 or something?
Maybe she's in deep thought about her his list, you know?
Ellie, we were making a list of gifts for you. We're not going to tell you them because that would be silly. That would be ruining a gift. But
Okay, if you really want to get me a gift, get me some armor that self-adjusts when I adjust.
I like it.
What, like a mimic?
Changeling armor.
Didn't you get
Yes.
just about killed by one of those?
Or what?
A mimic. Like mimic armor would do that, wouldn't it?
Do mimics wear armor?
No, that wasn't me.
So you're saying when you look like a boy, it's boy's armor, and when you look like a girl, it's girl's armor, and when you look like a, is there anything else? When you look like a dragonborn, it's a dragonborn armor. When you look like an orc, is that what you're saying?
No.
Need
No,
a one size fits all. is what it
Yes.
He needs like a skin suit.
is. Dude,
Armor that adjusts for when I change my size.
So he needs a material that can stretch.
like the stretchy stuff.
Yes.
Something like
material.
kind you jog in.
What
you know,
armor
So
like,
he wants,
what
like,
armor are you
nitro.
currently wearing, Elshondra?
Hang on. That
Is
would
it-
be. Hang on.
Is it magical?
It is.
Then it would do exactly what
it-
you're asking.
It's studded +2.
Yeah, it's classed as magical armor, so it would change size with you, as more
Okay,
all
there you
magical
go.
armor does.
Okay, so I don't need that anymore.
Yeah, it's latex,
It's a bit latex. Or
spandex. Yeah, you would all know by now that any magical armor will adjust its size to fit its wearer.
Hey, we could always just paint the armor onto you.
oh, you really have to stay in shape for that. Yeah.
No.
I am quite a good artist, but I would have to do it with my eyes closed because unless you changeling into something without genitals.
I'm going to go hunt for this goblin that ran away.
You gonna try and track it?
Yes.
Roll survival.
24.
24. You wander off in the direction where the goblin ran off, and you do see the tracks. They disappear into the forest. You follow them for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and they just vanish. After about 300 yards or so, they just vanish. So you can no longer follow them.
Am I far enough away from the group now? Or did they
Well,
follow me?
Well, it's up to them. It's up to them
No,
whether
no,
they followed
we
you.
would have followed our trusting roads.
So you would have followed
Track
Alessandra
line.
since she started tracking this goblin.
Oh, yeah.
Crap.
yeah.
So they're probably about 15, 20 feet behind you, but they're still there.
Still there talking about what to get me. Yeah?
Possibly.
Yep.
That's up to them.
I only walked off to follow this goblin to get away from the endless chatter.
Come on, Ellie, soften up. What if it was my birthday?
Actually, speaking of that, Head, when is your birthday?
My birthday is when the moon and the sun collide.
What?
Yes, it's a very rare time. I was born in a rare moon and a rare time. I was born the seventh sun of a seventh sun under a rare moon. It doesn't happen very often. So therefore, my birthday won't come around for another 1,000-odd years.
In other words, you're
So,
talking about an eclipse.
Like a
So
leap year.
technically, you're 1 year old.
technically, yes. If
Every
you count-
777 years.
There we go. Technically, I've only had. I mean, my parents used to celebrate it yearly around about the same time, but there was never another eclipse, and our race does not live long enough to see it again.
So,
So what day of the year do they celebrate your birthday at?
I think it was like the first day of winter.
Which is quite some time away. You guys are just coming into summer.
Mr. And Sadiq?
mine was just before you guys met me.
Namaris.
Well done.
What's a birthday? I don't have one of those.
Oh, come on, Namaris. Everyone has a day that they were born.
Namaris does not know hers.
What
I have
day?
a day that I was found, but I don't know when that was either.
All right, Fiala, what about you?
I do not remember my hatching day. It was very long ago. Don't ask how long. And I've never really celebrated it, so I don't really have one.
Well, with
We
that,
can make one up.
I'm turning back around and going back to the city.
And just to expedite the
at a
story.
quickened pace to try and put some distance between my
And we're just going to keep on following at the same pace.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, they will. I mean,
so-
you can try and run if you wish, and it'll be athletics versus athletics to see who will run faster.
We have a dragon. He will not outrun us.
Exactly. I was just gonna. I was hoping someone was gonna say that.
So wait a minute, Fiala, you don't have a day that you celebrate your birthday, or?
Hitler was
Hatching
going to
day?
say the same, Sadiq.
Dragons have no need of such things. Every day is honored as a dragon.
Oh, so that's why you live thousands of years, because you actually count the days that you've been alive instead.
It's not why we live thousands of years, Orc.
Yodri, I honor you every day. And Hit gets down on one knee.
Wait. Thank you, Ed. That's very sweet. So candles, birthday candles. We're gonna get 18, right? For
Wow.
Allie. For Allie.
What would you put? What are these birthday candles?
I heard that you light the flames of your youth up on this pastry, and that symbolizes this day of the sun rising of your birth.
Well, see, with orcs, it's for every year that you've been alive, you have the blood of your enemies in a shot glass.
Oh, that is awesome.
Wow. Do you think she'd like that? She doesn't drink.
She is there. She can hear you.
Yeah, I know.
can
We're
hear
just
this.
talking about her.
Candles are dangerous. We never had candles on my celebrations.
Really? But the
No.
blood of enemies is okay? I mean, where are we going to find more enemies?
Well, I mean, if you,
Well, we
you
just
drink...
left a bunch of them.
Should we save those? Do you think we'll get more in 10 days? I mean,
That's a good idea.
Yeah. No,
I
I
have-
think we'll just go out hunting and find some goblins and slay them. And
No, I'm going to go back and I'll empty one of my water skins and I will go and put some of the blood of those goblins into here for Allie's
Hey.
birthday.
you could use your breath weapon on it to freeze it, so it'll last a bit longer.
You're on. And Hit goes off to do that right away.
Roll a. What are we gonna roll? Nah, fuck. You're not gonna need to roll anything. You can collect blood. They're all dead. I mean, there's plenty of blood to be had. So you collect as much blood as you can in these in your water skin, and then you use your breath to freeze it.
Yeah.
It doesn't freeze per se solid, but it's definitely a lot more solid than what it was. You're not entirely sure how long it will last. In fact, it will last, we'll say, 1d10 days. So,
This should be rolling a 10 then, eh?
so yeah, Baz, I'll get you to roll a 1d10, and that's how long
Okay.
that blood will last.
8.
8 days. So you're not going to know that it's going to be 8 days, but after 8 days, that will thaw and it'll spoil, basically. You'll smell it when it thaws. So in 8 in-game times, you're going to have something really smelly in your pack or in your bag or wherever.
And how long?
Wherever you decide to put it.
How long's your birthday? 10 days.
10 days.
Just refreeze it halfway through.
Yeah, I'll tip it out and stir it and put a little bit of wine in with it, and she'll never know.
Or whiskey.
I don't think the idea is to kill her, you know.
Ooh. Alchemist fire. That'll get...
Wow.
Are we trying to make black pudding here?
Black pudding sounds interesting.
I think her birthday is supposed to be a day of celebration, not constipation. You know what I mean? Like, I think that we should really focus on happiness.
Just stop.
Hey, you shut up.
It's about you. Be quiet. It's about Alex.
Yeah, this is all about Ellie.
Oh my God, guys.
Wait a minute. I'm just... Oh, we could...
Jesus.
I don't know. There's got to be something we could put with it to make it last a little bit longer. Alcohol? Oh, maybe something that will increase Allie's ability to see. Then she'll be able to, see those traps that she keeps on walking into before she walks into them.
She has a distancing problem. We've never really checked on it.
Maybe
Get
she
some
needs
glasses.
But she wears these goggles, right? But we've never actually... Allie, how many fingers do I have up?
Whoa.
You broke Ellie.
Way too far.
Alessandros, roll perception.
What was that?
Roll perception.
Oh, God.
What did you roll?
26.
You definitely see 3 fingers. It's up to you whether you lie and tell them you see more or less. Come on, Trash, you're not that broken.
I see 3.
Allie sees 2. No,
She.
She's not
Jim.
blind.
he's you.
It's not her eyes then.
Maybe
It's
it's a
fine.
light thing. Maybe in the dark she can't see that
Wait.
well.
Maybe it's a distance thing. Should I run back and then?
Maybe we need to get her some of those, those night vision
Goggles.
thingies.
Oh, what were they called? Something of the owl. I think they were called.
Glasses.
No. Glass. No, I don't know. I can't remember.
Monocles of the
remember.
owl? The
Hey?
monocle?
Monocle. Yeah, that could be it.
They're called goggles of night.
Goggles?
Yeah, we need to get her some of those.
I have some of those.
Then she's
Oh.
not
Oh,
good at
well.
using them
She's already
properly.
wearing
Maybe
it.
Then, I mean,
they're
She's
broken.
had the goggles of the night for ages.
Out of character.
Out of character, you
out of
froze.
character and freezes.
You're back.
And we know is what I said.
So just a question. When was your guild, Alessandros, going to be capturing these people for us to question?
They were
Your
meant to-
birthday present.
Yeah, that's Viola's birthday present.
So
Whenever that is.
we're celebrating yours and Viola's birthday. At the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Allie,
party.
I assume you guys are doing this while walking back to Valondia, or are you standing in the middle of a forest having this conversation?
Yeah.
Good assumption, DM.
So during this conversation, you end up back on the road and back to the gates of Valond. What is your destination? Back to the guild house, or are you going to go to inform whoever you need to inform about the scouts potentially being found?
I would say we go back. Was it Breton that sent us out?
Yeah.
That's what the note in the notebook said, that the captain of the guard had sent them out.
I'd say let's go back and see Breton and tell him what's happened.
So you go back, head back towards the barracks. The guard at the barrack is more intense than usual. There are more guard around, and they're more wary, and they stop you all at the gate, hold you there for a few moments. They do recognise who you are, and they apologise for any inconvenience, but they have to make sure that the security is at the highest at the moment. And you guys get it. I mean, you understand what the stakes are now with the city. They eventually let you allow you in, and you go to Breton's office, and he is sitting behind his desk. His wolf companion Anvil is sitting next to him as usual, and he looks up and says, "Oh, right. Greetings. What brings you by today?" Oh, yes, you were looking after. I asked Lionel if he could get you to hunt down the scouting party we sent out a couple of days ago. Did you find them by any chance?
Yes. We
And-
found one survivor.
And where is the survivor? Is he
We
not
got-
with you?
Question.
There was a portal opened up and he disappeared.
Oh. Okay. And did they find anything?
Because they were attacked by goblins. A lot of small goblins, and one got away, but the rest are dead.
Yes.
Goblins.
Britain, what is your
Right.
take on goblins?
Nasty wee creatures. They normally work for orcs, ogres. They're probably a small raiding party, potentially. We have had problems with goblins, ogres, and even gnolls, which is unusual for this part of the realm. The gnolls are normally from the more southern regions. You would probably understand more from your region of the realms, but
Yes.
with current events and what has been happening around the realms, it seems that a lot of these more feral creatures are banding together, maybe under the guidance of potential demons or devils, maybe. We're
They
not
could be
entirely
indirectly
sure.
working for Kosis, you think?
Not him directly, but definitely along that realm. I mean, we all know that when the time comes for the attack on the city, it's not going to be just him, of course. I mean, he'll be bringing with him all manner of creatures and dark minions. Asmodeus is the instigator of all this, we believe, and he has obviously devils and demons at his disposal. They've been able to breach the realm and cross over. So some of these devils are even half human. Cambions, they're called. And it is possible that these cambions and succubus and incubi are responsible for banding the goblins and orcs and such together, and giving them more leadership, which has them more organized than usual. Usually they raid and very disorganized, very easy to dispatch. But lately, these attacks across the northern realms, in fact, have been a little more frequent. Hence the reason for the guard being increased of late, and that's across the realms. All towns and large towns and cities have been increasing city watch and such to combat these raids. We do not believe they can get into Vermont, however. I mean, it is well fortified. As you have seen, we have more guard. The militia, the new barracks is almost complete. The new militia is forming well. And I understand from what Corum has told me, Fiela, you are to lead the new militia when it is complete. As the high overlord, or whatever, I can't remember what he was calling it, but
Commander, I think maybe.
Lord Commander, I believe, something of that. And you are to eventually meet and appoint, and then meet generals, which will move their portion of these militia across the realms. It is a good thing, I believe, that this will be good for the realms to have a fighting force that be ready to band together at a moment's notice, especially in light of recent events. Obviously, we have but a couple of months before we will be on the verge of the end of everything. Hopefully this is not the case. one can only hope that we prevail in this matter. A lot rests on all of us, not just you, but the rest of us as well. We will all take up arms and join you on the wall when the time comes. And hopefully we will prevail, and we won't all be enslaved and taken into Asmodeus's rule, because that will not be fun times, I believe. Not much fun.
Yes.
But yes, so goblins, yes, okay. Well, we will inform the City Watch to be on the lookout for more goblin and maybe ogre raiding parties across the northern walls. And I thank you for your swift dealing with this situation. As always, the Lions provide. Is there anything else that you wish while you are here?
Any news on Thorfy?
No, not that I'm aware of. The last rumor that came through was that he was somewhere in the northwest. Beerford, I believe it was. I think you've been informed of this.
Yes.
But that is ultimately it. That sighting was some time ago, but that is the only lead we have at this point. Very concerning, as he is our most powerful mage. If he is being captured or under the influence of evil, shall we say, this could be bad for us.
Yes. We'll do our best to find him. I just was curious if maybe he had escaped or anything like that. But if not, that's fine.
We have several scouts riding the lands trying to find out more information. We send out fresh scouts when the old scouts return. We're getting as much information across the realms as we can, which is why we have information about these raids. And they seem to be intensifying a little as well, so things are definitely ramping up. As the blood moon approaches, as we all know. Tensions are high and will only increase. But if that is all, I wish you good day and safe travels in whatever you do.
Thank you. I'm gonna walk out.
And it's Ellie's birthday in 10 days too, just so you know, Britton.
Yeah,
Not like we might be having a party or anything for her.
Yeah, we're doing a party. It will be at the guild hall.
And everyone's invited.
Send out the invitation, and I will definitely be there. I think
it's more of a, verbal invite.
I'll endeavour to be there. I think it'd be good for
the wolf's invited.
A shindig.
We'll have dog treats.
I just hang
Anvil sort of, you see his ears prick up at dog treats, and his eyes sort of light up, and he sort of gives us a little bit of a whine. Looks at Breton, and Breton just says, "Hey," and he sort of snaps back to attention. You see, you can tell he's on duty.
I go over and give him a bit of a scratch behind the ears.
And his foot goes on the ground as you find that spot. But Breton gives you a little bit of a quizzical look. You've grown up knowing this animal, so he doesn't seem to mind so much. And with that, you'll leave Breton's office and head back to the guild house to await word from Garrick. Basically until you hear from him, there's not much you can do. And that is about a good time we can take a break, about there.
I was about to say, do we get a chance for an outhouse break and some mead?
We will take a small break there, ladies and Germanies. For those who haven't realised already, we've disabled the pre-roll ads at the start of when you join us tonight for the first time. So we will be running ad breaks during our Be Right Back session, just so you don't continue not to get those ad breaks at the start. So we will be right back and grab a drink, go to the outhouse, and we'll be back shortly. And welcome back, chat. We're back. All right, just quickly before we carry on, Liebermac and Shandytown. Thank you so much for your follows. Appreciate the support. And we are sitting currently on 3,299 followers, and that is really triggering my OCD. So if you haven't already followed, please follow and bring us to 3,300 follows, because that'd be freaking awesome. We have just in the last 2 sessions, 2 guys hit 23,000 live views also for our little channel here, which is really freaking awesome. You guys' continued support is amazing. Even if you stop by for a few minutes to hang out with us, that is all we ask. If you hang out for longer, that is even better. But all the viewers, the followers, the subs, you guys rock. You keep us going. And this is half the reason we do this. The other half is because we really enjoy D&D. This is why we have 2 campaigns. This is why I'm also playing in another campaign on the weekend, and I'm about to join another campaign on Thursday nights. So, multiple games going on across the board, playing, DMing. That's how much I love this universe. And we're all D&D nerds. I've been playing on and off for probably 30 years, give or take. I know Baz has been playing probably much around the same time, I would imagine. I know he started relatively young into the D&D universe. I'd assume Peck is probably playing, Peck and Trash have been playing for a long time as well. I'm not sure roughly how long they've been into it, but I'd say a long time. Michelle and Nutty, however, are both relatively new to the D&D world. Which is awesome to get some new players into this universe and into the fantasy realms of Dungeons and Dragons.
About 5 years.
It's still relatively new compared to some of us. Well, your introduction to it was in Baz's home game, wasn't it? No? Well, we've only been together 5 years, and you weren't playing it before then.
No, I had played it years and years and years ago, but that's like donkeys and not for long.
Okay, so technically you're a noob, and Baz's game was the first continuous game that you've been playing for quite some time. There you go then, see? But Michelle also DMs now. She's been playing with us for over a year, and now DMs her own home game, and will be DMing our multi-shot at the end of this campaign before we consider doing a Vampire the Masquerade campaign, which Het, aka Baz, will be storytelling for us as well. So if you wish to go support Yanti1 here on Twitch, she is also streaming, a content creator, so make sure you go check her out. She does gaming stuff there. Eventually we may be seeing some D&D streams, maybe. More than likely the one shot will be streamed on her channel as well as mine. We're not 100% sure on that yet. I'm not sure what she plans for that, but more than likely. But she does games, she does RPGs, all those sort of wonderful things. Warframe. She's done a bit of This Land Is My Land, I think, as well, and other things. So definitely go check her out. And while I know Magic really hates me doing this, but can we get a shout out for Magic the Gamer as well? Long-time supporter of this channel, a long-time supporter of me personally, since I started in this industry on Mixer. Rest in peace. I know you hate it, Mixer. I hate it, Magic, but I'm going to do it anyway. But yeah, so Mixer's an awesome Australian streamer. He has been... I know what I mean. Shh. Magic, not Mixer. I'm getting confused. But yeah, Magic has been a big supporter of me and what I do, and I've been a big supporter of him, what he does over there on his channel, and we hang out with him as much as we can. And a lot of Magic's communities come over here and hang out with us too. Mina, Grim, a lot of those guys will come over. Era's come over as well. So good to see you guys hanging out with us from time to time. So let's get back into the story. As you guys head back towards the guild house, and return to your lodgings, there is a message that has been left for you as you return. Seth greets you at the door. And there's been a message for you guys. It came while you were out doing whatever you were doing. I'm not sure what you're doing, but here you are. And he hands you a scroll. Who takes the scroll? Anybody? Fiala, you take it? Okay. So Fiala takes the scroll, you unroll the scroll, and you can't read it. It is in a weird and wonderful, strange scratchings. You have no idea what it is.
Dude, and I'm just gonna hold it up to everybody so I can just see. Anybody know this?
It's saying that, you know, we are awesome, and yeah.
So
what
Dick,
language is that?
you cannot read it
Sent
also.
from the void.
Hit, it looks like chicken scratchings to you as well as Neymara. So it's odd.
I reckon. Look, I've seen
What
Ali
language
writing
is it?
like this, so it's got to be Ali's sending notes to himself again.
Ali, can you see this? And like, how well do you know what this is?
Alisonus, you can read it indeed.
While Fiala's going in and out like a yo-yo with the parchment. What's it say?
hand
You
it
are
to him.
able to read it, and it says all it says is task complete.
So when do you guys want to head to... how did we put this? Into the dungeons.
Your birthday party?
Yeah, Fiala's birthday party, yes.
I know, your birthday party.
No, Fiala's. This one's Fiala's party.
What does it say? What's it say, Ali?
Task is complete.
Oh,
What task?
both of them, or
What
just
task do you think?
Well, I don't know. I can't read the bloody text.
Sadiq?
Did we not hire certain individuals to do a task for us?
Well, you didn't say it was signed by anyone. You just said it was task complete.
There's only one
Yes.
task we've sent out.
Well, no, I thought it might have been the one we just did for Brett, and I was thinking, oh, why did he tell us and then send us a note?
I don't think Breton Hart knows how to write in this language.
I don't know. He's a dodgy-looking sucker.
There's only one task that matters, and we need to get to it. Wait, are
Just
they
true.
both
Does this
supposed to
mean
be
we-
there?
Can go and torture them.
Well, no, we're not torturing. We want information.
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 And if they happen to die during that information giving, so be it.
Are we? Look, are they wanted by the law?
No.
No, they are not.
Have they been
Sadiq.
breaking the law?
Yes, my laws.
Well.
Excellent.
Me.
So,
You're not turning them in.
Lions, what are we doing?
Hit would like to, before we go into this torture ceremony, would like to just go into town and pick up an item he had previously ordered,
yes.
and then we can do that straight away.
You were able to do that. It's been a lot of time has passed, so you can go pick up your rings. We won't
Gildry.
after yet, but you can
That's
go
fair.
pick that up and come back before you guys head out to your task, if you wish. So we can say you've already done that on your way back to the guild house, if you like.
Excellent. Hit just want to make sure they are clippable to the skull.
Yes, they are.
Excellent.
So, you all right to head off and get some answers?
Do you guys need to get your vials and doodads and gadget gizmos and all the things you were making for preparation?
I've already made all that and gave it to Hit.
Okay.
Yes.
So it has both sets of vials.
Yeah, I would have written on it. Kills, paralyzes.
Yep.
Is anyone injured and needs like any kind of aid before we go, just in case things get hinky?
Do we want to wait until nightfall before we go to the secret entrance?
Possibly a good idea.
With the tasks you completed, you're probably now heading into early afternoon, so you've got a few hours to wait till sunset if you wish to wait.
Well, rest up, have some dinner. After dinner, head down.
Sounds like a plan.
That does sound like a plan.
Do this on a full stomach.
Is there anything you wish to discuss during your dinner, or can we supersede those proceedings?
Hip would like to just talk to Fiala Yildri in private first, just for a small amount of time.
Go for it.
He would lead Yildri either up to his room or her room, and say he will be back for dinner shortly.
Mid-afternoon hanky-panky?
Head, I hardly think that this is the time. I'm really, I have a lot.
Oh no, I have something exciting to tell you.
Oh, okay.
And Hit pulls out the grey skull and shows it to her. Says, look what I have done.
It's grey. It's lovely. I've seen this though. It's very nice.
Oh, no, I'm not showing you Scully. Here, and he unclips one of the rings from the side of Scully and hands it to Yildri and says, read it. And she will see her name written on the outside and some dragon writing on the inside, which would read to her, because she will be able to read dragon writing.
Certainly.
Which would read, Sanctuary of the Thatch.
Oh, this is beautiful, Ed. Did you do all this?
Well, I'm not exactly myself. No, I had it done specially, but I have one and you have one. And he unclips the other ring and says, I would like this to maybe be the start of a good thing to come.
Ah, is this like a dragonborn kind of bonding ritual kind of thing?
Yes, there is a bit of that. Maybe to see maybe we're a bit more serious than just hanging out, right?
Hanging out, right? All right. That's lovely. What does Sanctuary of the Thatch mean? I mean, I know that's your Maggie of the Thatch you mentioned, but...
So, if you put the ring on and I put the ring on, it's just a ring, and it means we are wonderful people that hang out together.
Ah.
But there is a spell I have attached to these rings, and when I activate it, you and me share life essence, we would say. So if you get hurt, you take much less damage.
Oh.
And if I get hurt, well, I take some of the damage you take, let's say.
Well, I mean, in the fight against ghosts, I'm probably going to take a lot of damage, and I wouldn't want you to take any of that.
The thing is, it's helpful for you to be able to get in, and it not only reduces the damage, it means we share it between ourselves. It is actually very handy. I will give you more details when it counts, but it is good for most battles. You can decide if you do not want it. The magic, that is.
But so if he hits me hard, would it possibly kill you because you're sharing an immense amount, or does it lessen, kind of dull it?
It definitely dulls it down.
Oh, that's very clever.
It is a nice spell.
Well, I'm gonna wrap my arms around his neck and give him a huge hug and kiss on the cheek and say thank you. I love it.
That is awesome. I appreciate that you love it, and I hope we get to use it, and it saves both our lives.
All right, I'll put the ring on. Is there any particular fingers, or just this one's fine, right? And I just stick it one that fits.
It's magical, so it will fit whatever finger you want to put it on.
Oh, good. All right.
So which finger do you put it on?
Index.
In this world, it doesn't really matter. There's no specific finger.
I don't know. Dragonborns. Did Dragonborns even have 5 fingers? What ring? I want to see it fit you.
Hit slides his ring on,
How many fingers
So-
does a Dragonborn have, by the way? Even I don't even know
Maybe
that.
4?
Three and a thumb, I believe.
Three and a thumb. There you go. Which finger does Het put it on?
He mimics Yildri. He does not want to step out of line.
So you both put it on your index fingers, and it does. It stretches to fit his rather large fingers. Claws.
Alright. I guess we should.
Catch up with the group.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I might get pretty angry, and I hope it doesn't bother you if I see these people.
Het can completely understand. Het has been angry at people for bad things before. I am siding with you on this one.
Okay. And then we're gonna head back down, I think.
Right, so you rest up, you prepare an evening meal, you eat, you drink. I would assume no alcohol. You stick to the non-alcoholic beverages as you have. Oh, Sadiq would probably down a few meads, knowing Sadiq, regardless.
Yep.
But the bulk of you, I know Ildri and Het would definitely probably refrain. Alchandra doesn't really drink anyway, unless she absolutely has to. Does Namaris drink, or does she refrain also?
I'd have a couple.
So with that, you finish your meals and your drinks, and then you head out. It takes you the hour or so to traverse the city. You leave the city limits. You find the secret entrance to the safe haven below the city. You descend the 60-foot ladder into the catacombs. You follow the 90 to 100-foot corridor, which is lit. It looks like the Thieves Guild has prepared things for you. Everything is well lit. You move into the large rounded chamber, and in the center of the room, tied to 2 chairs and hooded, is 2 shorter individuals. There is one shorter than the other, but they're both bound feet to the chair, ropes around their waists to the chair, and their arms are restrained behind their backs. It looks like it's probably 2 or 3 ropes binding each of them, so they're not bound with one rope, it's several different ropes. And they're both wearing sacks on their heads. In the room, you see Garrick and a couple of others. As you enter the room, he stands and just bows in respect and recognition, and waves his hand to behind him leave, and he turns and exits also without saying a word, leaving the 5 of you alone with your
Before he
2 captains.
completely gets away, I'm gonna go, nice work.
He doesn't seem, you're not sure if he hears you or not, but he doesn't reciprocate that you've said anything. He just disappears into the shadows.
So, Fiela, where do you want to start?
Thea's gonna turn into Ildri form, I think.
Right away? Interesting.
At the same time, Het is going to cast Zone of Truth as he pulls out the skull and says, "By the Maid of Iron, I look for the truth."
What's the save for that? Wisdom?
Charisma.
Prisma. So, got a... And what's your spell DC?
16.
Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna hold on the I'm gonna be Fiala for a little bit.
Okay. But it's up to you. If you want to do that, that's fine. But, right, so I have rolled their saves. I'm not going to tell you whether they have saved or not at this point. But I've rolled it and taken note of it. And
It says the spell says I know whether they succeed or fail on the save.
I will DM you.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I will act accordingly.
DM sent.
Received, thank you.
So what I'd like to do is grab out the rope that I have, the hemp rope.
Yes.
The taller one, I'm assuming, is the mage.
You would be wrong. As you approach, you see a dwarven individual. It's quite obvious that he is male and dwarvish, and the other is a gnome.
Ah, so they're actually in their true forms. Okay.
It appears so. Can't see their face at this point, but it appears that they are in their natural form.
Okay, so with that, so the sorcerer was the name, if I remember correctly, yes?
Yeah, the other one was a cleric.
Yeah, so Hellman, which was the dwarf, is a I remember cleric, I think, and the other was a sorcerer. The gnome is a wizard and the dwarf is a cleric.
Right. So with that, I grab the rope out. I tie it around the gnome, wizard, sorcerer, whatever you want to call it.
The wizard, yep.
I take it the light fitting's still up there.
Yes.
I lower that down. I tie her to it, basically, and then hoist that up and let her hang there for a bit.
Yeah, DM it to her base. So you raise her up.
Yep.
No need for a strength check because she's a gnome. So you toss the rope up and then tie it to her and lift her up so she's dangling.
Yeah.
How far off the ground?
10 foot.
10 feet. And do you hold the rope or do you tie it off? Try and tie it off somewhere.
I'll tie it off somewhere.
And you're pretty good with knots with your experience on the ship.
Yep.
The training you had there, so you're not as... I'm not even going to get you to roll for it. There's no point. You have become proficient in the tying of knots, and you indeed raise her 10 feet from her chair. You hear a muffled sort of voice. You get the impression that they may be gagged under their hoods, and you suspend her 10 feet from the chair and tie the rope off. She's now suspended in the air. You also hear a muffled voice as you are moving around. They can hear, and the dwarf is making muffled sounds as well.
So with that, do we want to take the mask off the dwarf, or we leave it on?
I'm going to move up and be within striking distance of the dwarf.
Behind, the side, or in front?
Kind of beside, but just behind.
Okay, so
same
in peripheral. So do you know that he would see you?
No,
or just out of peripheral. Okay, so you as well, Atronus. You want to move to a similar position on the opposite side?
Yep.
Which has you guys just out of his vision.
I'll be watching the hands for movement and stuff.
Okay. Duly noted. So hit Nomaris and Fiala, that leaves you standing in front.
Would Ildri and them recognize each other from the first war 200 years ago?
Ildri would definitely
recognize them.
You would definitely recognize them. You have sat in on council meetings. I would imagine that Ildri's humanoid form would be different now than what it was, so they may not recognize you until you transform.
All right.
No, Mars, where are you standing in this situation at the moment?
I'll just stay where I am and just be ready.
Okay.
I say we take off Erin's first, since she might know where Thorfey is.
She's suspended.
Do her last.
Yeah, she's suspended in 10 feet in the air. So you would have to climb on a chair or something to reach up and get it off if you wish to do that.
I recommend do the dwarf first, because the mage may know where Forthy is, so just to get all the issues out of the way first.
Alright. Take off Hellman's hood and lean in real close to Miss Viola. And say hello. You might not recognize me, but we're here to find out what you two have done with Thorfy.
Speaking to Hellman
Yes.
through his hood.
I would like to slip it off, even though he's gagged.
He is definitely gagged. You remove the hood. His eyes blink a little bit. There is torchlight. It's still very shadowy in here, but there is torchlight, enough light to see his face. And you can see the look of confusion, anger crosses his eyes as well. And he's struggling with the ropes. You can see he's moving in his chair. And it's like... and he can't speak at this point.
Gag out. If it's is it a bandana gag or is it like a?
It's like a it's a piece of cloth
kind of
type of thing. Yeah.
And take that off and see what he says.
He looks around and sort of quickly glances around, just seeing the three of you. And he looks, says, "Why have you brought me here? Who are you? I'll have your guts for this."
Anyone else want to help with maybe more of the charismatic ones before I...
At this point, when I hear him say that, I just, without opening my mouth, I speak to him telepathically and say, if you be careful of what you say, or you may find your head detached from your body.
He hears it, and he doesn't know who it really came from, but he just sort of then says, "Bold words for someone that is free from... Untie me and I'll fight you all."
Head steps forward as well, and he does both. He speaks out loud and telepathically and says, "You will listen to what has been said and you will answer the questions.
Intimidation.
I have cast a spell, and you, if you do not want your arms chewed off, will answer honestly."
I think he's making rolls, guys.
And your intimidation hit, please.
It's gonna be real good. I rolled a 19 naturally, and I have plus 11, so that's 20. That's 30.
That's 30. I hate to inform you this, but I rolled a natural 20 on Hellman's roll, and he has a plus 11 also.
Ooh.
So he beats you with a 31. He looks at you directly in your eyes and spits in your face. "Dragonkin, you know better than they are."
With that, I put one of my blades up to his throat.
And he sort of leans back, feeling the cold steel against his throat, and he just laughs. "Ha! Cowards, a lot of you. Dragon lovers."
Okay, now I want to be Eldry.
It's all yours, love.
And you transform?
Yeah, I'm upset. Yeah, I'm gonna transform and just grow and just look down within my huge face right at him.
And he does not budge. His face does not change. You can see he's not scared. He does not seem to care. And he says, "You're all fooled by this one. She will betray you as soon as she's able, just like the last time."
Betrayal. You're one to talk about betrayal. So you remember me.
"I know who you are. Fucking dragons."
What have you done with Thorfy?
"We've done nothing with him. He made his own decisions. He paid consequences like the rest of you.
What consequences?
Your
is
end
that?
is coming."
At this point, I'm going to step forward and I'm going to pick him up by the throat.
Can't, he's on a chair. He's tied to a chair.
I'm going to pick the whole damn chair up by the throat. With him.
Shrink check. But, actually, Ildry's right up close to him, so you'd have to... Ildry would have to allow you to do that, to get in front of her. I don't know that she would. Would you allow would you allow Neymaris to move in and pick him up?
Yeah, I'm gonna scoot a little bit so she can.
18.
18. So you grab him around the throat. You apply pressure and you raise him maybe an inch off the floor. But it's about you're still not 100%. You're not unhindered, but your size is still not as big as you once were. So you struggle a little bit, but you don't let it show. He sort of stops, and he doesn't say anything. He just looks you dead in the eye.
And I'm gonna rage. I'm just gonna go, what have you done with my father?
And he doesn't say anything. He just looks back at you with equal anger.
Neymaris, put him in my hand.
So I do.
Okay.
I'm gonna go, this is for my life mate, and I take my pinky and crush his feet and say, where's Thor?
Screams out in pain as you do you pierce his with your claw, or do literally crush the bones of his
Just
feet?
crush it, all the bones.
And both feet, or just one?
Well, it's my hand, like my pinky closing, so.
I'd say probably both feet. And yeah, he cries out, and he almost passes out with the pain. He says, I'll tell you nothing!
And
You all deserve to die! And he spits again. He's not going to give anything up. You get the impression that he just hates dragons.
Just hold on a second. And he says, I'm just going to heal his feet so you can do that again. And he heals.
I'll allow it, yeah. You heal him.
He heals for 12 of the
12?
damage at least, so he's repairing them somewhat.
Yeah, it's not 100% back to what it was, but it's definitely healed back. But he then looks at you, because I'm assuming you brought him up to face level.
yeah,
So you can
With my teeth showing.
see all his pain, see the pain that you're putting him through, and he just looks you dead in the eye and says, "You may as well kill me now. I'm never gonna talk to you."
and this is for the council, the betrayal, and I do my next finger.
And he remains conscious, but he does not speak again. Heavy breathing. You can see the tears rolling down his face, but he is very much in his element right now. He just does not want to tell you anything.
Do we need anything out of him, or should we try the other one? Anything left of this one?
I don't think he actually knows.
Then this is for my lair, and I crush his chest, and I go, this is for my daughter, you son of a bitch, and I squish him, and I push him on the floor like
Do you kill him?
pushing out. Yeah.
And you crush the dwarven body in your grasp. You feel his bones snap and break. His body pops like a balloon almost. Entrails run down the inside of your hand and down the inside of your clawed hand and down your wrist, and you just throw the remains like discarded trash. The chair, the rope, entangled into this broken body as you toss him to one side.
I take it Erin is seeing this.
She is still hooded and bound, and
Hearing it.
she's hearing it. She's hooded and she's gagged. She's wriggling quite badly now. I mean, obviously, with being lifted up in the chair, you can see she's wriggling really, really furiously in this chair.
Well, you guys can ask the next one because I've gotten what I wanted from the head of the council. So,
I think at this point I would have kind of been a bit sobered up by watching Ildry do that after what I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to stand there quietly.
Yeah, it brings back a few painful memories for you, definitely.
So I lower the mage just enough so I can take the hood off. No?
Yeah, but make sure she's low enough and facing the dwarf.
And my teeth.
So lower down enough so she's not actually touching the ground.
Okay.
Turn it to face Ildry and the dwarf. So in a that kind of angle.
So she can see everything, definitely.
Yeah. And while I'm behind it, I take the hood off.
And you remove the hood, she blinks and opens her eyes, and her eyes just go wide. Super wide. Like almost popping out of her head wide. Like she sees the remains of Helman, she sees the dragon, she sees the others standing in front of her, and you can see the absolute fear in her face.
Ildry, I think you've got this.
Remember me.
She's still gagged, and she
still
nods
gagged.
quickly, and you don't even have to try and intimidate. You can see the absolute terror in her face right now.
Not if you remember.
And she nods quite quickly.
I don't want to do that again like I did to Helman. You know where Thorfey is, don't you?
And she shakes her head back and forth. Like she says no.
Allie, can you take the gag off? Kind of messy.
I reach over, cut the gag free.
I don't know where he is, honest. Don't kill me, please.
You were responsible with Helman for the council's betrayal on Kosis and I.
I followed him, yes. I didn't really want to, but you see, dragons, it's not that I don't like them. They are responsible for murdering my whole family, but it's not that I don't like all of them. Please don't kill me. And you see the tears streaming down her face. She is terrified and quite upset. I knew you would come for me eventually, but Helman was responsible for the contracts. He has needed my signature to make it go through the council, my vote. I didn't mean for all this to happen, honestly.
You had 200 years to tell someone you didn't mean for this to happen, and you chose not to.
Yes, but I know. But what is done is done. I understand that it was wrong.
When's the last time you saw Thorfey in the Arcanist?
A few days before he went missing, he was talking about needing to find out what happened to Namaris, and he heard that she had been killed, and he was like really upset, and it was only a couple of days after that he just disappeared. No one knows where he went.
Hey, Mars, do you have anything to ask?
No. I just look at her. Do I believe her?
Roll insight. She also says, you know about the stranger that came to the council, though, don't you? Talking to you, Ildry. You don't know about? It was on the day before the vote, before we made the decision to banish Kosis, and the dragon orders were put in place. This man, he was very tall, very charismatic. He was introduced to the council. He seemed to know Thorfey well. A human, maybe half elf, possibly. I'm not sure. Dark hair. He did not give a name, but he convinced the council to banish Kosis to the Hells. It was his decision. He wasn't even a member of the council. The council thought it strange, but again, Hellman convinced me that it was the right thing to do because of what this so-called stranger had suggested.
Did he look like this person? Allie, change into Cass.
And I rolled a 12.
I change.
You're not sure whether she's telling the truth or not as well. She says, no, he was a little taller, much more handsome. And with that description, Fiala, you know exactly who she's talking about. It is more than likely Asmodeus himself. You've seen
As a human
form. In human form. You've seen it once before. A long time ago. Well, about the time of the banishing, you met a similar individual who had convinced Kosis to make his initial attacks in the first place.
And as I describe Asmodeus, what I saw long ago, back to her, I'm going to describe it back to her. Did he look like that?
She agrees. She says, yes, yes. And Het, you know that she's telling the truth?
Yes, Het would telepathically, actually probably out loud say, she cannot lie like the other one was able to. She cannot resist the spell I have up.
But
So you're saying that
Asmodeus
has been pulling strings for a long time.
So Asmodeus betrayed Kosis, really? Why would Asmodeus want?
I don't know who this Asmodeus is, but I said that was the man that came to the council, and with that she utters a single arcane word, and in an instant, you watch her eyes roll back in her head, and her head then rocks forward, and appears completely lifeless.
Did we hear the word she uttered?
It's a word that's unfamiliar to all of you. Het, you could roll probably an intelligence or an arcana check, whichever you prefer. Het's probably the only one that may have heard this word at some point.
22.
22. You rack your brain. The word's not familiar. Then you think, hang on a minute. My father talked about a spell that would cause this kind of effect, this instant death. And it you say, what do you call it? And you rack your brain for a moment, and power word death comes to mind.
Damn it. She's used a suicide pill to spell called power word death. I could have actually reacted to that, but I wasn't quick enough. I'm sorry.
You're muted.
I was getting soft too and thinking we might spare her, but oh well.
Right. She could have corrected her actions, but
Got some
This is a-
information.
Definite death. She's not faking it.
Check her if you wish.
Pull her
Well, we'll
apart
just-
to be sure.
look, we'll cremate her just to make
No,
Just
I take my
squish
head
her.
down and I swallow her whole.
You don't
want us to
bite down
take
on
the
it, give
ropes
it,
off
grind her up, chew it. You just swallow a whole.
No, because if she's alive, I want her to feel all that juices and stuff.
You swallow her whole.
It
The
just
rope.
turned
You
on.
bite down the rope, and the rope snaps, and you just swallow her
Spit some
whole.
rope out, yeah.
So
I'm
you
sorry,
are now.
Mars, we couldn't
Yeah.
figure
Yeah.
anything out.
Fuck up, Adam. You piece of shit.
I swallow, Sadiq. No.
Fucking
It is
word.
turned on by this act of continuous swallowing.
At least you know she swallows.
I'm sorry, Namaris, that your father.
Paris is absolutely like completely catatonic, sitting rocking in the corner.
That's okay. She'll get over it. Fiala, Yildri, come here. And when she bends down her head, I'm going to cut the rope off.
That's hanging out of her mouth.
That's hanging out of her mouth.
Duly noted and done so. So we're now sitting or standing in the center of this room, a very battered and broken body of Hellman lying on the floor. The night is still relatively young. Namaris, yeah, you would hold up reasonably well even with the torture thing. It does bring back some pretty nasty memories, and you probably do maybe falter a touch, but you were.
I would have done the ooh.
Yeah, I mean, it also just the thought of not being any closer to Thorfinn would definitely have an effect on you as well.
I guess we didn't get a lot of information, but they are no longer alive. That solves a problem in some respects, I guess.
Well, actually, I beg to differ. We got a lot more information than I thought we would get from them. Like, we know that the council was manipulated into betraying and sending Thingo to hell instead of another realm.
Asmodeus betrayed Kosis.
That's true.
I don't
Also-
think that's going to help us by telling Kosis, by the way, you're...
I think that
Yeah.
we should.
Well, you can tell him, but I don't think it's going to change it. And
We can always put the seed of doubt.
He would believe Yildri over us for sure. One thing I stand in question, though, is he walked into the council without actually being on the council and made a decision, and they just went, oh, yeah, sweet, go ahead, we'll do that. Which tells me that his abilities were probably, I mean, maybe he persuaded them magically, or maybe he forced them in the mind, because no council would just go, hey, this council member can just tell us what to do, yeah, let's just do it. I would say they were magically persuaded. Yildri, would you not think that as well?
Yes. And not all of them, but yes, the vulnerable ones.
Of course.
At this point, I'm kind of look at them all and go, but I don't know where my dad is.
Never fear, Namaris. We will find your dad. I guarantee it.
well, technically we got a clue about that too, because he went off looking for
Oh no.
Morris. So
He's
Sadiq, you are wise beyond your years. Sorry, Yildri.
You don't feel he would have gone to the Nine Hells, do you?
well, crap, I wasn't thinking that far. I was thinking maybe the town where we killed Amaris.
Well, I mean, far and wide, Valand now knows Yildri, and Namaris is in town, and
By
all
the
the
way,
lions. So.
Namaris didn't know that you killed Namaris. But now she does. Thank you, Sadiq.
Yeah, way to go, buddy.
Oh,
I take a step back and I look at them. I'm like, you did what?
yeah, we killed a doppelganger. Don't worry about it.
I'm just gonna sit on that one.
Yeah. Sit. Stay.
Maybe give her a drink of something.
We got
I have
things to-
I have a bag of goblin blood.
No, no, we're saving that for.
It's
birthday.
alright, I've got my water skin.
I will have to restock on a water skin because I filled my one with goblin blood.
Oh, something not to forget. Blah, something not to forget when we're out and about tramping and trying to kill things. Especially when you're
take a drink
dehydrated.
from your water skin. So, what are we doing at Lions? Elistron, you get the impression that you would probably don't have any problems leaving the remains here, as they will be dealt with your knowledge of the now newly formed Scorpion, the old Fang, and you would have some understanding of the way they do things. And if these sort of things happen, the bodies are normally disposed of relatively easily and quickly and discreetly.
So,
Ali,
here's
sorry,
a
Ali, I have a
proposal.
question.
Yes, Head.
Do you own a mop?
No, Head.
Okay. Sorry, carry on. What were you saying?
No, I don't want one, Head.
What is this mop you speak of?
You know what a mop is. There are mops in this realm.
But would they be called mops?
Yes, they would.
God damn it.
No, it's okay, Head. Things will be taken care of here.
Excellent.
Shall we go?
Is Ildry still in Ildry form?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch back down.
And you are now covered in dwarf blood, which would probably cover your entire arm. No, it'd still be just your hand. Like, there's a when you transform your shape, you do have a lot of his entrails and blood covering your clothing.
Head pulls his loot forward, seeing this, and says, Yildry's wet, she's covered in red, use prestidigitation.
Oh, I
And he
love
cleans
it.
her up.
I
Thank
love
you,
it.
love.
That is awesome. So, with that, Ildry is clean and very fragrant again. Less fragrant than before, not so coppery, more flowery or rain-like. And you do decide to exit the safe haven and return back to the guild house to discuss your next course of action. You do so. You get back to the guild house. It is still it's dark. It's not late. This whole incursion probably didn't take more than a couple of hours. So you've got time before you retire. Before we hit another day closer to Elishandris's birthday. Is there anything you wish to discuss about your future endeavors, about your next course of action here?
I'm gonna arrange a meeting with Gosis in the next couple of days and tell him what we've learned, and maybe he will either redirect it towards Asmodeus and save the city, or it won't matter. But either way, he's a dragon, and I'm going to respect that.
I'll contact the guild and see if they can't help track down the Maris's father.
I think they're already doing that.
Yeah, you guys had suggested that before, and they were definitely helping. But he also said Garrett also did say that the Bearford would be your best bet at this point. That's been the only sighting, and that information came from the guild and was given to Coram.
Should we investigate the last sighting? Maybe take Namaris? He could be hiding there.
I think we should go there, yes.
Sounds
So-
like a plan to me.
Agreed.
And Sadiq, you would have a reasonable understanding of the area. It's not too far from where you resided once. You know of the keep. You've never been there, but you know it's a ruin. It has been a ruin for for probably a couple of 100 years, but it does have a reasonable underground. Most keeps have an underground basement area, like a basement type area, or underground rooms that if anyone was hiding, that's where they would probably be. Finding the entrance to it, however, might be a little bit more difficult because none of you have ever been there, but you know roughly what you're looking for.
I'm a thief. I can find anything, including traps.
Look, if there's any traps near it, Ali will find it.
But will she be okay?
That's what's up.
Got 2 healers, she'll be fine.
And with that, you eventually feed yourselves, drink more mead. I'm assuming Namaris probably would have a few drinks this evening as well, a few more than usual because of the slightly harrowing experience.
Probably go and take myself to the bathhouse with a bottle of something and just chill in the water.
No problem.
I'll
Ildri,
do that with her.
you'll do that with her?
Yeah.
Alessandros, what are you doing? Are you going to join the girls?
Nope, just go up to my room and sit there quietly until I nod off.
No problem.
Ali, you are going to join the girl. If I have to drag you with.
You're muted. Trash.
You muted yourself to talk.
No, I'm not.
I'm going to smile sweetly and say, come with us, Ali. You
Persuasion
stink.
check. And
Ali,
what's
come with
your
us.
charisma, Alessandros? just your charisma, without the modified.
Plus,
Without the modified.
14.
14. Okay, so DC's 14.
Oh.
Yes, suppose you got to beat 14. 4. So yeah. So Alessandros is not convinced, and
Can I try and intimidate her?
you've already made the check.
I don't understand why Namaris isn't just picking Ali up and taking
Well, that could be the next course of action. I would allow that. If you wanted to attempt to pick her up.
I definitely would. It's like, I'm going to grab her by the scruff of the neck and say, you're coming with us whether you want to or not.
Strength versus dex. Just a
You got
straight
dwarf
dex
blood on
roll
you.
and a straight strength roll. So strength roll from Namaris and a straight dex roll. No, just a d20 plus your dex modifier and a d20 plus your strength.
Careful, Namaris. This is how you ended up dead last time.
Shh.
The doppelganger,
What
you, I
did you
mean.
get, Ali?
You first.
21.
Fuck.
Namaris. Alessandros, what did you roll?
9.
Oh, yes. Namaris literally picks you up and throws you over her shoulder and carries you to the bathhouse.
Is it low light? Is it low light?
Not in this particular area, no.
Well, you suck then, don't you, DM?
It's a guild house. It's going to be well lit. They're not going to have too many shadows this place. It might be a darkened corridor along the way.
Yeah, I'll wait till then.
There is a couple of dark spots in the corridor, but I mean, if you're trying to do what I think you're going to do, you really got nowhere to go. It's a 10-foot wide corridor. Oh, I suppose you could escape and then possibly run if you wanted to. There'd be a 10-foot patch in the corridor which would be dark enough to do what you want to do. And since you can't materialize in bright light, you could literally go 10 feet.
I am walking at some pace here, so you know.
It is a spell, so it's it's a spell. So
Is it?
was a spell or part of? It's not part of your racial, is it? The Shadow Step.
It's part of right. Part of the
Part of your subclass.
Yes.
So it's just an ability.
No.
There's no verbal or anything. It's just it'll just happen.
Nah, I'll go along.
We invite
You'll
the
go.
boys.
You'll go along. You can invite the boys if you wish. It's up to you.
Oh, they can come along as well. I just
Yeah,
wanted to.
you guys should come too. I mean, we all got a
Okay.
little, a little dwarf on us. I mean, probably should
No pun intended.
What do you say, Sadiq?
The little dwarf on you.
It's been a while since I've bathed, so yeah, why not?
I only bathed a couple of days ago or something. Namaris convinced me, I think. But I shall go as well. It seems like a group effort, eh?
So, with that, you all retire with your ales and meads and wines and whiskies, whatever drinks you have, and you go to the Roman-style open bathhouse, which is a large rectangular pool with these seats around the edges that is heated. Namaris, with no shame whatsoever, gets in there and just strips off and into the water.
I would have dumped Ali in fully clothed.
So yeah, Ellie, you're dumped into the water fully clothed. Do you remove your clothing at that point, or just leave them on?
Yes, I remove my clothing.
Alessandris, in her actually human form, as a woman, removes her clothing and finds one of the seats. The water comes up to just below neck level when you're seated. It's not like super clear, but it's not opaque either, so it's you can sort of see each other but not see each other, if you know what I mean. It's semi-obscured. So Fiela, do you disrobe and enter as well?
Is there like
Openly?
a side pool or like a partition where we could put ice cube, like breathe ice cubes in and stuff, or
No,
like
there's
a
not.
cooler?
It's just a single. It's
Ah,
just a single pool. Hit's been here before.
I'm gonna like drop the towel at the last minute and get in.
So Fiela uses her cloak because there are towels there. There would be towels available as well. But yeah, you disrobe, endeavouring to cover yourself, and drop it at the last moment, getting into the pool. Sadiq and Hit. I know how Hit gets in the pool because the same as last time. He would do it very discreetly, also covering himself.
Hit has been discreet, and he is well.
He is frozen. He dipped his toe in and was like, "Ooh, that's hang on, that's warm." That's why he's still not back. There we go. You back? No. Yep. No. Fuck. No. No. Hit, come back to us. Well, we'll go to Sadiq.
Oh my god, we killed him.
We'll go to
Froze the
Sadiq
pool,
while Hit disrobe. Oh, he's
Oh,
back.
there he is.
He's back.
You're back.
You're back.
Hit would wait till last.
Okay, Sadiq.
I'd strip down to a loincloth and then get in.
Okay. So you strip down. Do you wear loincloths under your leathers? I mean,
Yeah.
okay.
There you
Fair
go.
enough.
That shit chafes, man.
Oh, DM's inspiration if you don't already have it for that one. Definitely. Actually, DM's inspiration for everyone. It was an awesome night tonight. So if you don't already have it, take it. The chat doesn't seem to be giving you guys inspirational luck, so I'm going to give it to you. Hit goes last.
Hit steps forward and sees the steaming pool, and he says, "I am sorry, everybody," and he breath weapons the entire water.
And it drops the temperature quite sharply. It doesn't bring it down to cold, like cold, icy cold, but it brings it down to it's not warm, barely tepid. It's just it might take a couple more breaths to bring it down to the temperature that Eldry and Het are used to. But
Hit would
Freeze.
I'm gonna say, "Oh, this is nice head." Like,
It'd be like
back.
nice and refreshing then.
so the rest of you, so you might start to turn blue after a while, but the temperature of the
gonna
water
move
does
away.
drop a little bit while
Down the
Het
pool a bit
continues to ice breath the bathing area. And that is where we'll call it tonight. We'll rejoin you next week as you probably exit the bathing area after getting a bit of a chill. So hit ice blasts the water. Before we finish up, thank you chat for hanging out with us again tonight. Appreciate it very much. Liebermac and Shadowtown with the follows tonight. Thank you guys. Albasm with the the continued sub, 9 months. Thank you very much. As usual, we will go around the crew and get some moments from this evening. Chat also, if you want to come, if you got a favourite moment, put it in the chat. I'll read it out after these guys are finished. But if you have a favourite RP moment from tonight or a particular moment throughout this particular session, put it in the chat and we'll get through some of those in a moment. So, Namaris.
Yes.
A moment from you.
I have to say I had a couple. When Het turned into Carnos, that was a bit fucking classic. And didn't stop talking. Just like, but everybody talking about Ellie's birthday in the clearing and then Trashy just absolutely losing his shit.
Definitely. A lot of fun there. And around the room we go to Sadiq.
Head's prestidigitation on Viola.
At the end there.
Yeah.
There's the little ditty that came along with it.
The ditty. Always good when he does those.
Definitely. And Michelle, aka Yildri.
I'm trying to think of things people haven't said. So, Het curing the feet after I've crushed him was pretty rough.
That was a bit rough,
cool.
definitely. Definitely rough.
So I like that. I'll let everybody else finish it off.
And then Trashy.
Fiego's Yordri's dragon snacks.
Yes, the dragon temper showing through just there just a little bit. And of course, lastly but not leastly, well, not lastly, but the last player, Het, aka Baz. He's always got a few. I'll turn that off for now so we can see me.
So I mean, obviously the birthday, Carnos, Yildri's complete swallow of urine, that was cool.
Yildri swallowing is always a high point.
Yeah. I thought the description of goblins and the way Breton said that I think his words were the nasty little buggers. I thought that was pretty cool.
Channeling my inner Carnos there.
Yeah. My favourite piece from the group would be Ellie and Sadiq. So getting into rear position and hiding in the shadows behind the two torturees, and just being prepared and at the ready for anything. I thought that was a good decision. I wasn't expecting. I thought we were all sort of going to stand and just fire questions at them. But I think it was a good way to get in there and actually do something else. Scare them from the rear.
Definitely.
That's me.
So yeah, for me tonight, a few things as well. Obviously the Carnos moment, which obviously Baz and I had talked about and planned. Thank you, Cam, if you're in the chat. It was your decision, your choice, your channel point spending, the choice of bringing in a NPC from another campaign gave us the opportunity to do a little bit of a crossover with our Curse of Strahd campaign. For those of you that don't know, Carnos Lurth is a main character in our Wednesday night Curse of Strahd campaign. So it's kind of cool to have that crossover. The interactions with the birthday stuff, dudes. Oh, that was so funny. Poor old Trash has been put on the spot. I mean, he Trashy himself. For those that don't know Trashman's uncomfortable at the best of times with certain things, and Alessandros is pretty much like Trash. So I think the reactions from Alessandros were very much not just Alessandros. I think there was a lot of Trashman in there as well, which is really funny. But the overall interaction in the Thieves Guild safe haven, again, just to reiterate what Baz said, Sadiq and Alessandro's hanging back, taking more support role in that. Obviously, Namaris is always going to be in the forefront because it's got directly to do with her father. Ildri, obviously, with the loss of her egg, and I was actually quite surprised with. Technically, these two were also responsible for Alessandros' parents' death in a roundabout one, in a more kind of indirect way, but for Alessandros to stand back and let Ildri have her moment, I thought was kind of cool. And then the squishing of Helm, I did not expect that to happen quite so soon, and quite so violently, but that was awesome.
Just want to add, if they had let the mage live, I would have killed her anyway.
Okay, well, there you go then. Yes,
God, help
unfortunately,
save.
the wizard, unfortunately, was left unbound a little bit too long, and was able to get off a quick cast. But for all intents and purposes, the whole thing went very well. It's again a whole reason, the whole DM inspiration for everyone, not just for roleplay, but just the whole thing in general. I mean, you guys bringing the story. That level of roleplay is getting better and better every show, and that's across both campaigns. The innuendo is getting a bit out of control, I think, but I think everyone loves that by now. So the chat's enjoying it, we're enjoying it, and that's all that really matters. So chat, I hope you're enjoying the show this evening. Obviously, we are here every Sunday night for the Paradigm event, and every Wednesday night for the Curse of Strahd. Drax, about time you stepped up to the Strahd level. Even without me, he says. So anyone in the chat, did anyone in the chat have a particular moment that stood out for them before we finish up and we raid? We're going to raid Tainted Filth again tonight, a UK D&D streamer. He is playing in a D&D campaign, so we're going to go raid him tonight. So anyone in the chat want to point out a particular moment before we go? I'll give you a couple of minutes to type something before we do our finishing scene. But don't forget to join us on Tuesday night. I'm going to do some gaming on Tuesday nights, starting next week. So if you want to hang out while we play some World of Warcraft or some Baldur's Gate 3, just some random RPGs, a couple of probably some first-person shooters at some point, but just going to hang out and play some games, just like we used to back in the old days. So Tuesday for that. Wednesday night, obviously the Curse of Strahd campaign. Come and rejoin us for that. I think in that campaign, the group is getting ready to leave Vallaki and go explore the abandoned windmill that is old Bone Grinder. So that will be some fun. I mean, the whole thing was great, but that stood out. So Drax, loved the whole Karnos bits. Yeah, I thought you might appreciate that, Drax, considering you're in that campaign as well. Half-orc in a loincloth, yes, that was interesting also. The chafing. It chafes. Dragging them to the bath was funny. Thank you, Lady Litany, with a moment there as well. Yes, Namara's picking up Alishon, taking to the bathhouse. She's good like that.
It's a bit of a thing with Ellie.
Yeah, if you were here for the start of this campaign, it is not the first time Alishondros has picked the first time Neymaris has picked Alishondros up in that fashion, and it probably won't be the last.
Usually to throw her because she's too pissed and annoyed.
That's right. Ellie got very drunk
spewing off the side of a horse.
Yes. So with that, we will say good night, and thank you very, very much for everyone for stopping by tonight. Thank you to the viewers, the followers, the subs. You guys will rock, and the players, of course. Thank you for hanging out with us again for another week. We will see you again for the next show, and until then, everyone stay safe and have a good night, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be, and yeah, bye.